Phoenix Nights. Chapter 23:11. The little monk Fan Xiu was extremely powerful and had definitely become a saint. However, Gu Fei had never sensed a Buddhist master becoming a saint before. Obviously, the little monk Fan Xiu must have used some forbidden method when he became a saint. Once someone like Fan Xiu became a saint, his cultivation would definitely increase rapidly, and he would become an expert among saints, just like the old tortoise. The little monk Fan Xiu displayed the heavenly Buddha Dharma and gathered endless Buddhist power, attracting a wisp of the Dharma of the Millennium Buddha. This made Gu Fei feel great pressure. Boom! The golden hand slammed down on Gu Fei below. The Dharma of the Millennium Buddha moved, and the Buddha's Dharma sealed the space below. Gu Fei could not dodge at all. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Even if the Millennium Buddha were here, I would blow him up with one punch. Gu Fei's fighting spirit was like a rainbow. His long hair danced in the wind. He roared and punched upward with his right fist. Endless power of chaos gathered crazily on his fist. 9 chaos Tao patterns emerged on his fist, triggering the power of the great path of chaos. An extremely powerful chaos saint might burst out. Gu Fei's fist exuded an invincible fist will. Sensing the invincible fist will on Gu Fei, even the little monk Fan Xiu could not help but be moved. This guy was incredible. He already had the aura of a saint. Boom! Gu Fei's fist slammed hard on the golden Buddha's hand that was slamming down from the sky. The golden Buddha's hand was like an immortal mountain that was difficult to move. Gu Fei felt an irresistible power coming from the Buddha's hand. The golden Buddha's hand slammed down and slammed Gu Fei into the ground. Although it was only an extremely weak avatar, the ancient Buddha Lord was still the ancient Buddha Lord after all. His Buddhist energy was so strong that even Gu Fei could not contend against him. Buzz! At this moment, a sword chime came from the ground. A black light broke through the soil and rushed out of the ground, slashing at the Buddha's Dharma. The sword light was extremely sharp. However, the heavenly Buddha merely waved its hand and shattered the sword light. Rumble! Just as little monk Fan Xiu controlled the heavenly Buddha Dharma idol to shatter the sword light, the entire ground suddenly shook. The ground undulated violently like waves. Hee, no matter how powerful you are, it is useless at this moment. Little monk Fan Xiu smiled. This was his trump card, and he wouldn't use it easily. The Dharma body of an ancient Buddhist master wasn't that easy to condense. Kill! With a roar, the entire ground exploded. A figure rushed out from the depths of the earth, surrounded by chaotic energy, like an invincible god walking out from the primordial chaos, attacking the Dharma body of the Buddhist Lord. What? Seeing how strong Gu Fei was, even little monk Fan Xiu was shocked. It wasn't a joke to say that a martial artist was invincible in the same realm. With Gu Fei's cultivation, how could an ordinary sage be his opponent? Terrifying chaotic energy shook the heavens and earth. Gu Fei directly displayed his strongest combat strength, using the primal chaos fist. He punched out, shattering the void. It was as terrifying as splitting the heavens and earth apart. Pen! The heavenly Buddha Dharma idol slapped out again, and the endless chaotic energy was immediately scattered. Without any suspense, Gu Fei was sent flying again. Wah! In the air, he had already spat out a mouthful of blood. Even someone as strong as the chaotic martial body was injured. Sai Buddha is merciful. Little monk Fan Xiu muttered. You little baldy. Gu Fei's senses were extremely sensitive. When he heard little monk Fan Xiu's whisper, he almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. A surge of hot blood had already rushed to his throat, but he forcefully swallowed it back down. Again. Gu Fei was sent flying thousands of miles away by the golden Buddha's palm, but after he stopped, he immediately rushed towards little monk Fan Xiu. Martial artists became stronger when they met strong opponents. Even when facing the Dharma idol of the ancient Buddha, it was the same. It was impossible to retreat, and he still pressed forward. However, invincible battle intent didn't seem to be able to change anything. In the face of absolute power, no matter how strong one's battle intent was, there seemed to be only one outcome, and that was defeat. This was the first time that Gu Fei met such an extremely strong opponent. He was sent flying again and again, but he still rushed forward. He was so tenacious that it made people's hearts palpitate. Hand over the mountain and river cauldron. Little monk Fan Shio couldn't help but say. Hand over your big baldy. Gu Fei roared. The clothes on his chest were stained with his own blood. Just a little bit more, Gu Fei murmured in his heart. He didn't use the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, nor did he use any other techniques. He had been fighting with his own strength. One had to admit that little monk Fan Shio was really strong. Gu Fei was very curious as to how Fan Shio was able to do all this. One had to know that the Dharma idol of the ancient Buddha wasn't that easy to condense. Could it be that this little baldy has a Buddha artifact? Gu Fei couldn't help but be shaken at the thought of this. Bang! The golden Buddha's palm fell, and this time, Gu Fei's physical body collapsed. But in the next moment, the scattered flesh and blood flew back and reformed into the chaos martial body. Although Gu Fei was heavily injured, the 9 chaos Tao patterns in his body were getting brighter and brighter. When Gu Fei's primal chaos martial body was blasted by the golden Buddha's hand for the 3rd time, Gu Fei's primal chaos Tao pattern finally emitted endless primal chaos divine light. The 9 primal chaos Tao patterns were evolving the primal Tao. Rumble! Above the firmament, there was the sound of thunder. What? At this moment, little monk Fan Shio was shocked. He raised his head and looked up into the sky. He didn't know when, but there was a mass of tribulation clouds in the sky. Good boy, you actually. Little monk Fan Shio was shocked. The aura from the tribulation clouds in the sky made his heart palpitate. It was a kind of supreme power that surpassed that of a sage. In the depths of the firmament, an extremely powerful force descended and shrouded the entire heaven and earth. Little monk Fan Shio immediately retreated far away. Sage ruler's heavenly tribulation. Little monk Fan Shio only dared to stop after retreating thousands of miles. Then, he said such words. Ha ha! Thank you, little baldy, for helping me. Gu Fei laughed out loud. At this moment, he no longer suppressed his own cultivation. A powerful aura spread from his body, causing the heaven and earth to shake. He already had the right to attract the saint ruler's heavenly tribulation, but he did not want to do that. Right now, he had basically made himself feel the threat of death once again, tempering his mental state once again. Chapter 23:12. Gu Fei triggered the Sage King's ordeal and scared off Fan Shio. This guy. In the distant sky, Fan Shio's expression changed. The terrifying aura of destruction that descended from the depths of the sky made his heart palpitate. It really is the Sage King's ordeal, Fan Shio muttered to himself. Then, he turned around and left without looking back. The Sage King's ordeal had descended. Even if he still had trump cards that he had not used, he did not dare to use them. That was the Sage King's ordeal. At this time, Gu Fei could not be bothered with Fan Shio, because at this time, an extremely powerful figure had appeared in the depths of the sky. That was the Dharma body of the great path that Shi Zun had left behind when he tried to break through to the Saint King realm. This was the reappearance of Shi Zun's battle prowess when he was at the Saint King realm. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook. The blurry figure took a step and instantly arrived in front of Gu Fei. Endless aura of the great path spread out from the figure, as if a supreme existence had descended in this part of the world. At this moment, all the saint-level creatures in the entire chaotic world felt the vast and powerful Sage King's aura, and all of them were shaken. What's going on? Has a Sage King descended into the chaotic world? Someone exclaimed. The pressure of the Sage King was too shocking. Even the sages would change their expressions, but on the contrary, the living beings below the saint level were completely unaffected, as if they could not feel the Sage King's aura at all. The saint-level creatures in the chaotic world were indescribably shocked. Some of them directly rushed in the direction of the Sage King's aura, wanting to know who it was. The Dharma body of Shi Zun when he was at the Saint King realm? Gu Fei felt great pressure from the blurry figure. The powerful ripples of the great path that came from the figure made him feel suffocated. Kill! Without hesitation, Gu Fei directly rushed towards the figure. He extended his hand, and a large chaotic hand immediately rushed out, grabbing at the figure. Gu Fei attacked with all his strength. It should be known that he was facing the Dharma body of Ji Zun when he was at the Saint King realm. No one knew how powerful such a Dharma body was. Bang! That figure stretched out his right hand and pressed forward. 9 primordial Dao runes surged out from his palm and instantly sealed the space before him. Gu Fei's giant chaotic hand was frozen in the void, completely imprisoned. Bang! With a shake of the figure's right hand, Gu Fei's chaotic hand shattered and dissipated into the void. Gu Fei was taken aback. He had never imagined that his opponent would be this strong, easily dispelling his full-powered attack. Looks like this battle will be extremely difficult, Gu Fei muttered to himself. It was not an easy task to become a Saint King. Shua! It was a humanoid creature, but the Dharma body was blurry. He could not tell what kind of creature it was. Boom! The power of the Great Path exploded, and the void trembled. Gu Fei and the creature began to fight. This was a fierce battle. Divine blood splattered across the sky. Gu Fei's chaotic martial body was heavily injured one after another. Even his martial body was destroyed several times, and the fire of his life was almost extinguished. If he had not cultivated the wing transformation secret technique, he might have been in danger. The more injured he was, the brighter the 9 chaotic Tao patterns in Gu Fei's body became. The Sage Tribulation brought not only destruction, but also a kind of Great Path imprint of a supreme creature at the Sage King realm. This power of the Great Path was constantly perfecting Gu Fei's 9 primordial Tao patterns. The pressure of a Sage King began to emerge from Gu Fei's body. To Gu Fei, this was definitely a good thing. The power of the Sage King was condensing, causing some changes to the aura on his body. Gu Fei was like a cockroach that could not be killed. 9 figures descended from the sky, and each figure had the combat power of a Sage King. He forced the 9 figures back, and the 9 primordial Tao patterns were perfected. In the end, the 9 Tao patterns emitted endless chaotic divine light. Under the shroud of the chaotic divine light, Gu Fei's chaotic martial body quickly recovered. He had endured and survived. The 9 Tao patterns were one step closer to the 9 flawless Tao patterns. Everyone who witnessed this scene had their minds go blank. They did not expect that someone had actually successfully passed the Sage King Tribulation. The powerful Sage King Tribulation was vast and mighty. Chapter 23:13. Many people could not believe that Gu Fei had passed the Sage King ordeal. However, it was a fact, because there was more than one ancient saint who had witnessed Gu Fei's success. News of this matter quickly reached the ears of the various superpowers. Some rejoiced, while others worried. Those who had previously attacked Gu Fei felt as if they were facing an imminent disaster. Especially those who came from the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star. I'm afraid we can't avoid this. Some people left the chaotic world and returned to the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star. They had to be prepared. Once Gu Fei returned, he would definitely start a bloodbath. At this time, the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star was in chaos. The heavenly secrets became unpredictable, and the power that suppressed the saint-level beings was disappearing. The Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star was located at the border between the West Earth Buddhist Kingdom and the Central Earth. There was a place called the Sorcerer Land. It used to be the territory of the Sorcerer Tribe, but hundreds of years ago, the Sorcerer Tribe was exterminated by Gu Fei. The Gu family of the Sorcerer Land was originally a small family, but after it became the master of the Sorcerer Land, the family gradually became stronger over the past hundreds of years. The current leader of the Gu family was Gu Zhong's father. Back then, Gu Fei had left behind many things that were enough to make the Gu family strong enough to become the true master of the Sorcerer Land. The Gu family and the Yaotai Ancient Sacred Ground were connected by marriage. Although the Yaotai Ancient Sacred Ground had never acknowledged this relationship, it was an indisputable fact that Gu Zhong's wife was the former Holy Lady of the Yaotai Ancient Sacred Ground. It was also for this reason that the superforces did not attack the Gu family of the Sorcerer Land, because they were afraid of the Yao-Pai ancient sacred ground. However, there were some forces on the Soaring Dragon ancestral star that did not respect the Yao-Pai ancient sacred ground. For example, the West Earth Buddhist sect. As a supreme inheritance, the West Earth Buddhist sect did not care about the Yao-Pai ancient sacred ground. On this day, 500 golden arhats suddenly descended and surrounded the Gu family's Yanwu city. On this day, the Sorcerer Land was in chaos. Apart from Yanwu city, all the forces of the Gu family in the Sorcerer Land were uprooted. The Gu family could not resist the West Earth Buddhist sect at all. Western Earth Buddhist sect, what are you guys trying to do? An angry roar came from within the city. At this moment, the defensive array of the city was activated. Countless runes interweaved, forming a screen of light that covered the entire city. This was the grand formation that He-Tian had set up in the past. Hundreds of years had passed, and this grand formation was constantly devouring the essence of the world. It was no longer the same grand formation that it had been in the past. He-Tian's attainments in formations were so high that even Gu Fei was impressed. The formations he laid down were extraordinary, they could automatically evolve and change. You are the inheritors of that demon Gu Fei. We are here to subdue the demon. A Buddhist Vedanta walked out and said those words. Exorcism? What a joke. How could we be those devils? Looks like your Buddhist sect is determined to annihilate my Gu family. The patriarch of Gu family rushed to the sky above Yanwu city. A mighty immortal emperor pressure spread out from his body. Rays of purple immortal Tao divine light lingered around his body. Gu Zhong's father had actually cultivated the immortal emperor Tao fruit in these hundreds of years. However, such a cultivation base was nothing in front of the 500 golden arhats. One should know that each golden arhat had the cultivation base of a Buddha emperor. One had to admit that the foundation of West Earth's Buddhist sect was very deep. 500 Buddha emperors were enough to sweep through a region in the ancestral dragon star. There's no need to say anything to these devils. Another Buddhist Vedanta walked out. Form the Arhat demon subduing grand formation. A Buddhist Vedanta ordered the 500 golden arhats. In an instant, golden figures flickered outside Yanwu city. Buddhist runes soared into the sky, and a powerful Buddhist energy was rapidly condensing. In Yanwu city, the Gu family patriarch was filled with anger. These Baldis were truly despicable. They clearly wanted to annihilate the Gu family, but they just had to pin a groundless crime on their heads. At this moment, within Yanwu city, the members of the Gu clan also made their move. A shocking killing intent rushed out from the grand formation of Yanwu city. Under the control of the Gu family, the grand formation of Yanwu city had turned into a heaven-shaking killing formation. What? Sensing the mighty killing intent from the grand formation, even the Buddhist Vedanta couldn't help but be moved. Before they attacked the Gu family, they already had a premonition that things wouldn't go smoothly. Now, they finally knew why things didn't go smoothly. At this time, the Arhat demon subduing grand formation of West Earth's 500 golden Arhats had already been activated. Powerful Buddhist energy rippled across the heavens and the earth. A vague Buddha figure could be vaguely seen in the grand formation. This was a confrontation between the Arhat demon subduing grand formation and the killing formation of Yanwu city. These two forces had already surpassed the immortal emperor realm, and were definitely at the almighty realm. Especially the killing formation of Yanwu city laid out by He-Tian. The power of this grand formation was incomparably powerful. It could definitely withstand the attack of a grand completion almighty. Even a half-step saint wouldn't be able to break this killing formation in a short period of time. Do we really have to go back and ask for help? A Buddhist Vedanta muttered. The important figures of the Gu family were hiding in Yanwu city, which made things very troublesome. Their plan to take down the Gu family with lightning speed could be considered as a failure. In fact, the Buddhist sect of West Earth had long wanted to act against the Gu family. The Shaman land stood between the Buddhist sect of West Earth and Middle Earth, and the Buddhist sect of West Earth wanted to open up a path between the two. Most importantly, the Gu family had a close relationship with Gu Fei, which made the Buddhist sect of West Earth feel uneasy. By this time, the incident in the Shaman land had already been known by many major powers. Everyone was shocked that the Buddhist sect of West Earth had actually acted against the Gu family. This was simply looking down on the Yaobai ancient sacred ground. As the primordial era faction of the soaring dragon ancestral star, the Jadestige ancient sacred ground naturally sent people to the chaos world. After learning that Gu Zhong had become a sage, those who did not have a good impression of Gu Zhong gradually changed their attitude. One should know that Gu Zhong was the disciple of Gu Fei. This was no secret to the major powers of the soaring dragon ancestral star. Now that Gu Zhong had become a saint, he was a mighty martial saint. In the desolate era, a martial saint was a synonym for invincibility. A martial saint was definitely worthy of being roped in by the Yaobai ancient sacred ground at all costs. Especially when the great calamity was about to descend, even a fool would know the benefits of joining forces with a martial saint. Chapter 23:14. The Buddhism of the West Earth had sent out 500 golden-bodied arhats to destroy the Gu family in one fell swoop. The news spread and shook the cultivation world of the ancestral dragon star. The golden-bodied arhats of the West Earth were not weak. Those who could cultivate arhat Dao fruit were all Buddha emperors who could stand shoulder to shoulder with immortal emperors. Everyone felt that the arrival of 500 Buddha emperors in the Sorcerer Land was overkill. The Gu family of the Sorcerer Land was not a powerful cultivation family. It was just that they had Gu Zhong and had a special relationship with the Yaobai ancient sacred land. Therefore, no one paid attention to this small family over the years. However, when the news of Gu Zhong becoming a martial saint reached the ancestral dragon star, some forces changed their attitude towards the Gu family. After all, no one dared to look down on a martial saint in any era. A martial saint was even more powerful and terrifying than an ordinary martial saint. Some major forces looked further ahead. Gu Zhong was Gu Fei's disciple. If even Gu Zhong had become a martial saint, wouldn't his master be even more powerful? Ancestor, should we send someone to the Sorcerer Land as well? Deep in the mountains in the eastern region of the ancestral dragon star, someone said in a land of rising dragons. This was where the Dongfang family's ancestral court was located. Birds sang and flowers bloomed. Mist lingered in the air, and pavilions dotted the mountains. Immortal birds and spirit beasts could be seen from time to time. It was a paradise, a land of rising dragons. Spiritual qi gathered here. Cultivating here would definitely yield twice the results with half the effort. We don't need to do anything. The Gu family of the Sorcerer Land is just an ant. An old voice was heard. Just as the people of the Dongfang family decided to wait and see, the people of the Yaobai ancient sacred land had already entered the Sorcerer Land and were rapidly approaching Jiaowu City. Bronze chariots pulled by wild beasts rolled across the sky. The world shook, and a powerful aura spread in all directions. What's going on? Why are the war immortals of the Yaobai ancient sacred land here? Many cultivators appeared at the border between the Sorcerer Land and the Central Earth. Some recognized the chariots that rolled across the sky as coming from the Yaobai ancient sacred land. Are they declaring war against the Buddhism of the West Earth? Someone guessed something and couldn't help turning pale with fright. The West Earth Buddhist sect and the Yaobai ancient sacred ground were both superforces in the soaring dragon ancestral star. If these two forces were to start a war, the entire soaring dragon ancestral star would be in an uproar. War chariots streaked across the sky. Someone counted and found that there were 81 war chariots entering the Shaman land. Such a huge commotion shocked everyone. Rumble! At this moment, in the area where Yanwu City was located, the heavens and earth trembled. Boundless golden Buddhist light illuminated the entire area, turning the entire area golden. Buddhist runes appeared indistinctly within the Buddhist light, and Buddhist power spread out for a distance of 30,000 miles. At this moment, Yanwu City was completely enveloped by Buddhist light. The demon-subduing formation set up by the 500 golden arhats was in operation. The Buddhist grand formation displayed great power. The virtuous Buddhists controlling the formation wanted to destroy Yanwu City, but amidst the endless golden light, there was a sky-blue light screen that shrouded the sky above Yanwu City, blocking the golden light. Patriarch, what should we do now? In the mayor's mansion of Yanwu City, all the important figures of the Gu clan were seated. A middle-aged man who looked similar to Gu Zhong was sitting at the head of the table. Everyone was restless because no one knew how much longer the grand formation of Yanwu City could last. The grand formation of the Buddhist sect outside of Yanwu City had sealed the void of heaven and earth. The grand formation of Yanwu City could no longer gather the essence of heaven and earth. In other words, for every bit of energy the grand formation of Yanwu City expended, it would lose another bit of energy. It would be difficult for it to gather spirit chi from the outside to replenish the consumed energy. With this, it was only a matter of time before the grand formation of Yanwu City collapsed. Once the grand formation of Yanwu City collapsed, the Gu clan and the city would be wiped out by the Buddhist sect. Wait! The Gu clan's patriarch only said one word. That's right, other than waiting, there was really nothing else they could do. The important figures of the Gu clan felt very uneasy when they heard this. Were they just going to wait for death here? Why did the Buddhist sect suddenly attack us? Someone from the Gu clan voiced out his doubts. Could it be because of nephew Gu Zhong? Someone asked. The people present were all Gu Zhong's uncles. Many of them knew that Gu Zhong and his master had a feud with the Buddhist sect of West Earth. Stop making wild guesses. When those baldies attack, we will know the reason. Someone was very pessimistic. Gu Zhong's father looked at the scene coldly and didn't say anything. Just as the important figures of the Gu family felt as if they were sitting on pins and needles, the people from the Yaobai ancient sacred ground finally arrived. When war chariots rolled over from afar, the Buddhist Vedanta were immediately moved. The Jadastage ancient sacred ground was an ancient power that had existed for countless years. Even the Buddhist sect of West Earth didn't dare to underestimate this ancient power. A few figures walked out from the grand formation of Buddhism and headed towards the chariots of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground. Buddha is merciful. 3 virtuous Buddhist sect placed their palms together and chanted. They actually wanted to stop the chariots. Scram! A loud shout came from the leading chariot. The beast that pulled the chariot let out an earth-shattering roar, causing the void to tremble. Then, the chariot directly charged towards the 3 virtuous Buddhist sects. The 3 virtuous Buddhist sect couldn't help but change their expressions. They hurriedly dodged to the side. The disciples of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground were all women. These war immortals were also female war immortals. Although they were female war immortals, they were still incomparably powerful. Fairies of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground, do you want to start a war with our Buddhist sect of West Earth? Among the 3 virtuous Buddhist sect, a fat middle-aged monk said with his palms pressed together. Humph, you guys are the ones who started this. The people of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground aren't so easily bullied. A female war immortal shouted. The chariots rumbled. 81 chariots stopped in the air and formed a grand formation. A powerful energy fluctuation appeared in the world. You guys! The 3 virtuous Buddhist sect were shocked. The people of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground really wanted to start a war with the Buddhist sect of West Earth. Just as swords were drawn, a figure appeared between the virtuous Buddhist sect and the people of the Jadastage ancient sacred ground. This person seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Everyone was shocked. There was actually someone who had directly barged into the middle of the confrontation between the 2 groups of people. Baldy of West Earth, do you guys want to wipe out my entire sect while I'm not here? Chapter 23:15. Just as the Buddhist Vedanta and the Yaobai war immortals were confronting each other, a person suddenly appeared between them. Who are you? The leader of the Yaobai war immortals shouted at Gu Zhong. It's you. Before Gu Zhong could speak, one of the 3 Buddhist Vedanta's expressions suddenly changed. His voice trembled in shock. I didn't expect someone to recognize me, Gu Zhong. Gu Zhong was a little surprised. The person who recognized him was actually a Buddhist Vedanta. None of the Yaotai War Immortals recognized him. You are Gu Zhong. When the female War Immortal heard this, she couldn't help but size up Gu Zhong. At this time, Gu Zhong had already sealed his saint tier cultivation. The people of the Yaotai War Immortals had already received the news that Gu Zhong had become a sage. I am Gu Zhong and Gu Zhong is me. Now I am qualified to take back my wife, right? Gu Zhong said to the female War Immortals. Back then, he couldn't even enter the mountain gate of the Yaotai War Immortals. But now, those people probably wouldn't stop him. It's a pity that the previous saintess isn't at the Yaotai War Immortals, the female War Immortal said. Where is she? Gu Zhong asked hurriedly. I don't know, the female War Immortal replied. She only knew that the previous saintess had left the Yaotai War Immortals. As for where she was, only the previous saintess master knew. However, the previous saintess master had also disappeared along with the previous saintess. Gu Zhong was a little disappointed. But now, he had to resolve the crisis of the Gu family. These big baldies of West Earth were really despicable. 3 big baldies, come and die. Gu Zhong hooked his finger at the 3 Buddhist Vedanta. A powerful wave of energy erupted from his body, causing the void to tremble. The 3 Buddhist Vedanta turned and left. How would they dare to fight against Gu Zhong? However, with a flash, Gu Zhong had already appeared in front of the 3 Buddhist Vedanta and blocked their path. His speed was so fast that it caused everyone to be shocked. Gu Zhong knew that if the 3 of them entered the Buddhist Vedanta's formation, it wouldn't be easy to kill them. What do you want? The leader of the 3 Buddhist Vedanta stared at Gu Zhong. Ha! What a joke! You wanted to exterminate my entire clan, and now you're telling me what I want to do. Gu Zhong smiled. Buzz! At that moment, a buzzing sound came from the hand of a Buddhist monk. A golden Buddhist bell flew out from the monk's hand and enveloped Gu Zhong. Gu Zhong did not dodge. Shwa! Buddhist light flickered, and the Buddhist bell descended from the sky. It grew to the size of a small mountain and instantly sucked Gu Zhong inside. Everyone felt disbelief when they witnessed this scene. Gu Zhong was a person who'd sealed his cultivation at the Saint Realm, and his physical body was a metal element martial body that lived up to its name. So, how could the Buddha bell have taken him? You're only SOSO. You've given us a false alarm. The 3 Buddhist Vedanta were pleasantly surprised, especially the Buddhist Vedanta who made a move. He couldn't believe that his Buddhist treasure would be so powerful. However, just as the 3 Buddhist Vedanta thought that Gu Zhong was doomed, the expression of the Buddhist Vedanta who held the Buddhist bells suddenly changed drastically. Buzz! The Buddhist bell hummed, and desolate runes appeared. The Buddhist Vedanta felt his hand tremble as the Buddhist bell flew up and expanded to the size of a small mountain. Clang! Pen! Fist and palm prints emerged from the Buddhist bell from time to time. Gu Zhong attacked from within the Buddhist bell, causing it to vibrate repeatedly. Soon, cracks appeared on its surface. Everyone was inexplicably shocked, especially the War Immortals from the Yaotai ancient sacred land. They were pleasantly surprised. Gu Zhong's combat strength was truly powerful. One had to know that the golden Buddhist bell was a precious treasure of the Buddhist sections. What's going on? The Buddhist Vedanta's heart trembled. Quickly suppress him with all your might. The 3 Buddhist Vedanta immediately took action. Each of them was enveloped in a layer of golden Buddhist light, and the sound of chanting seemed to resound in the void. Rumble! The 3 Buddhist Vedanta struck out Buddhist runes at the golden Buddhist bell in an attempt to suppress Gu Zhong. Open for me! Gu Zhong roared angrily as he attacked with all his might. Boom! With a loud bang, the golden Buddhist bell shattered, and countless fragments shot out in all directions. The 3 Buddhist Vedanta suffered a great impact, and they were sent flying back while coughing up blood. Die! Gu Zhong shattered the Buddhist bell and charged out. Following that, he attacked again and again. A golden divine light rushed out from his glabella, transforming into a golden Dao sword that cleaved at the 3 Buddhist Vedanta. Swish! The Essence Soul Tao sword instantly caught up and cleaved at one of the Buddhist Vedanta. Following that, the Buddhist Vedanta fell from the sky. Those who were struck by the Essence Soul Tao sword would not be injured physically, but their souls would be destroyed by the Essence Soul Tao sword, leaving behind a soulless corpse. Gu Zhong only killed one Buddhist Vedanta, while the other two successfully escaped into the Buddhist sect serene. Demon subduing! A Buddhist Vedanta roared angrily. Then beams of golden light rushed out from the great formation formed by the 500 golden arhats, piercing towards Gu Zhong. Each beam of golden light was wrapped in a Buddhist Tao pattern. Subdue your big bald head! Gu Zhong bellowed and punched out with his fist. Dazzling golden light rushed out and dispersed the Buddhist light that had pierced through his body. Chapter 23:16. The power of the exorcism formation formed by 500 golden arhats was infinitely close to the saint level. It was peerlessly terrifying. Even an ancient saint who had sealed his cultivation would probably die inside the formation. The human world was still not a paradise for saint-level beings. The mysterious power of saint slaying still threatened every saint-level being, and saints were also suppressed. Even though Gu Zhong was already a saint, he had no choice but to seal himself, and it was difficult for him to utilize the cultivation and combat strength of a saint. But even then, he still pressed forward courageously, and every single punch or kick he made shook the entire Buddhist formation. He really became a saint. The female war immortals of Jadistage ancient Holy Land were all shocked. No wonder the Sacred Lord didn't hesitate to start a war with the Buddhists of West Earth. It seemed that the Sacred Lord already knew about this. The Sacred Lord of Jadistage ancient Holy Land was an ancient saint who had lived since ancient times. He could be called a super-antique. Someone who could be noticed by the Sacred Lord of Jadistage ancient Holy Land was naturally not an ordinary person. How can he be so strong? The two Buddhist Vedanta in control of the Buddhist formation were shocked by Gu Zhong's battle power. He was too strong. The Buddhist formation couldn't suppress him at all. The Buddhism of West Earth had a very deep foundation. As the inheritance of the ancient Buddhist Lord in the human world, they even had the legendary supreme Buddhist weapon. However, the Shaman land was not an ordinary place. It also had a contingency plan left behind by a supremacy. Back then, the supreme Buddhist force appeared in the Shaman land and fought against the supreme Buddhist weapon. When the supreme Buddhist force and the Shaman land's supreme force confronted each other, Gu Fei and the others pushed into Central Earth. No one knew what the result was. The Gu family of the Shaman land survived. All the other powers were wary of the Shaman land. This allowed the Gu family in the land of the sorcerer to rest and build up their strength for hundreds of years. The Buddhism of West Earth didn't want to cause another confrontation with the supreme Buddhist force, so they didn't use it. They only sent 500 golden arhats to destroy the Gu family. No one would have thought that the Gu family's city defense formation would be so powerful. Even the Buddhist formation would find it hard to break through the city defense formation in a short period of time. Now that Gu Zhong had returned, it was even more impossible to destroy the Gu family of the Shaman land. Rumble! The Buddhist demon subduing formation trembled. Within the formation, Gu Zhong's body emitted a dazzling golden divine light. He was like a golden divine sun, emitting terrifying energy fluctuations. 9 golden Tao patterns appeared on his body, activating the power of the great Tao of metal. His entire body seemed to be cast from peerless gold, giving off a feeling of peerless power. "Haha, big baldies, bring out whatever skills you have." Gu Zhong laughed heartily. Although he couldn't display the cultivation of a saint, he could raise his battle strength to a level that was infinitely close to a saint. This Buddhist formation couldn't do anything to him. Bang! Yi Futian immediately unleashed the sky-covering hand. The golden hand blasted forward, and 9 golden patterns of the way emerged in the palm. The power of the great path was mighty, and a large area of the void in front of him was annihilated. Screams rang out as the boundless golden Buddhist light collapsed under the huge golden hand. The bodies of more than a dozen golden arhats exploded on the spot, turning into a mist of blood. The power of the heaven-covering palm was unparalleled and unstoppable. It actually broke a corner of the Buddhist formation and struck out from within. Retreat. The two Buddhist Vedantas saw that the situation wasn't right and immediately gave the order to retreat. Beams of golden light shot up into the sky, and the remaining golden arhats imprinted the matrix patterns in the void. Then, all of them rushed out from the Buddhist formation. Swoosh! A scroll flew out from the hands of one of the Buddhist Vedanta, and a dazzling Buddhist light rushed out from the scroll. A golden spatial passageway appeared in the void. You want to leave? Not so easy. Gu Zhong roared angrily from within the Buddhist formation. He attacked with all his strength, directly killing his way out of the Buddhist formation. The tyrannical power directly shattered the golden matrix patterns that were imprinted in the void. However, Gu Zhong was still a step too slow. When he rushed out of the Buddhist exorcism formation, the remaining hundreds of golden-bodied arhats had all turned into Buddhist lights and rushed into the golden spatial passageway. The golden spatial passageway immediately collapsed and disappeared, as if it had never appeared. They came and went at lightning speed. It was obvious that the Buddhists of West Earth had made sufficient preparations in order to attack the shaman land. They even prepared a path of retreat. Preposterous! Seeing this, Gu Zhong couldn't help but be shocked and angry. The enemy used this method to escape, and it was impossible for him to stop them. However, the crisis of the Gu family in the shaman land was over. The sorcerer's land was the Gu family's root. When the sorcerer's land changed, the Gu family was forced to leave the sorcerer's land. However, after the battle, that Saint Emperor and the force he controlled disappeared into thin air. No one knew why that force disappeared. Some people speculated that perhaps the time was not right, and the world had not changed yet. The Saint Emperor chose to continue to hide, waiting for the world to change before coming out. The Gu family returned to the shaman city. After all, the ancient mysterious inheritance was extraordinary. However, after the battle, the earth veins of the shaman land changed, and the ancient killing trap was likely to be broken. Even so, after that shocking battle, no force dared to enter the shaman land. In the following hundreds of years, the Gu family in the shaman land was safe and sound. The Gu family had the formation map that He Tian gave them, and they once again set up the formation to protect the shaman city. Even Gu Fei and He Tian did not expect all of this. After Gu Zhong broke the Buddhist demon subduing formation, the leaders of the Gu family immediately opened the city protection formation, and welcomed Gu Zhong and the female war immortals of the Yaobai ancient holy land into the shaman city. Although the mysterious Saint Emperor occupied the shaman city, it was only for a short time. After the Saint Emperor disappeared, the shaman city became an empty city again. The Saint Emperor did not destroy anything in the city, not even a blade of grass or a tree. After hundreds of years, the Gu family was actually a little uneasy. If the mysterious Saint Emperor suddenly came back, then the Gu family would be in trouble. Especially now, the world might have changed. All the ancient forces that had left the shaman land might appear again. Even some of the heaven-defying existences that were said to have died would reappear. No one knew what would happen to the 3 realms and 6 Tao when the world changed. Chapter 23:17. Just as Gu Zhong was reuniting with his clansmen, the chaotic passageway that connected the 3 realms and 6 Taos in the Chaos World started to become unstable. The Chaos World was about to disappear. Everyone realized that the opportunity to become a sage was about to disappear. If they didn't go through the tribulation now, they wouldn't have another chance. This time, the Chaos World had appeared for more than 10 years. This was something that had never happened before. Some people guessed that this wasn't a good thing for all living beings. Perhaps the changes of the world were about to happen. At that time, the 3 realms and 6 Taos would definitely be in chaos. Those who had temporarily retreated would return. This time, a victor might be decided. In the following days, there were constantly people who attracted the sage heavenly tribulation. Everyone took advantage of this last bit of time to fight with their lives. If they succeeded, they would become a supreme sage and look down on the world. If they failed, their bodies and souls would be destroyed. Reality was cruel. Either they fought with their lives or they lost the chance to become a sage. To cultivators, becoming a sage was their life goal. What was the point of cultivating hard for their entire lives? No one was willing to give up on this chance. Roar! A furious roar rang out from a valley in the chaos world. The sky above the valley was covered by a layer of tribulation clouds. Amidst the endless tribulation lightning, a gigantic dragon soared into the sky, bathed in tribulation lightning and ascended to the 9 heavens. He broke through the restraints of the Tao of the heaven and earth and successfully became a sage. The endless tribulation clouds dissipated. The figure of the gigantic dragon disappeared as well. A young man descended from the sky. A peerless sage aura spread out from his body. I, Azure Dragon, have finally become a sage! The young man roared into the sky. His voice shook the sky. Another sage has appeared. Some of the cultivators in the vicinity were trembling under the pressure of the sage realm. This sage aura was so strong that they found it hard to breathe. Even though they were great circle quasi-sages, they were nothing in front of the true sage aura. Azure Dragon has become a sage. The news spread. Some of the geniuses from the soaring dragon ancestral star were incomparably shocked. They didn't expect Azure Dragon to become a sage at this time. In another region of the chaos world, in a place where chaos energy gathered, there was a large, withered tree. All that was left of the tree was a thick trunk. At this moment, there was a woman wearing fiery red battle armor sitting cross-legged on the tree trunk. Suddenly, the woman opened her eyes. At this moment, a fiery light streaked across the dark sky and flew towards the woman. The woman waved her hand, and the flame fell into her hand. A wave of divine sense was transmitted from the flame, which was directly read by the woman. Then, the flame dissipated in the void. The Azure Dragon has become a sage. A gleam of light flashed across the woman's eyes. Then, she muttered to herself. Looks like I, Zhukair, am still a step slower than that Azure Dragon. Then, the woman closed her eyes again and sat quietly on the wooden pole. Tiny flames began to appear on her body, and the aura of the great path spread from her body. On the soaring dragon ancestral star, although the 4 ancient clans of the southern wilderness were on the same side, the competition between them was intense. The Azure Dragon might be the first among the 4 ancient clans to become a martial saint in 10,000 years. Although Gui Ting of the Black Tortoise clan was not the most outstanding and powerful person among the 4 ancient clans, he was still qualified to become a martial saint. No one knew if he had already become a martial saint. When Gu Fei first made his debut, the White Tiger clan had been repeatedly defeated by Gu Fei. This clan had already become the weakest among the 4 ancient clans. There were definitely many prodigies on the soaring dragon ancestral star. The southern wilderness, eastern region, extreme north, and western earth all had people who were qualified to become martial saints. Western earth's Buddhism had another little Baldi, while the eastern region's Dongfang clan had a Dongwang and the Zhao clan's goddess. The Jiang clan and Zhou clan were ancient cultivation clans with extremely long legacies. The Jiang clan's Little Shen King was extremely powerful. Even among the famous figures of the older generation, there were not many who were his match. The Zhou clan's successor was rather mysterious. The Li clan was the original clan of the supreme Dao ancestor, so their successor was naturally extraordinary. With so many geniuses, no one knew how many of them could successfully become a martial saint. The heritage of these ancient clans was not something that ordinary people could imagine. In the chaos world, there were constantly people who triggered martial saints' tribulations, and people kept dying. The path to becoming a martial saint was a path of blood. Even geniuses would die. The heavenly Tao was merciless. Not everyone could grasp that slim chance of survival. On this day, the chaos world was shaken. The successor of the Zhou clan of the primordial antiquity had died. Both his body and soul were destroyed. The successor of the Zhou clan had failed to pass the tribulation. Not long after, shocking news spread in the chaos world. The successor of the Li clan of the primordial antiquity had failed and died to the martial saints' tribulations. This news was a huge blow to those who had yet to trigger martial saints' tribulations. If even the successor of the primordial antiquity had died to the tribulations, then wouldn't the chances of others succeeding be even slimmer? Some people felt that they could not compare to the successors of the primordial antiquity clans, so they immediately gave up on the idea of undergoing the tribulations. However, many people still wanted to take a gamble. The Azure Dragon has become a martial saint. In a mountain range in the Chaos World, a figure sitting cross-legged on a huge mountain suddenly said, "Do you dare to fight Gu Fei?" On this day, the Chaos World was shaken. The Azure Dragon, who had just become a martial saint, roared. He actually called out Gu Fei's name and challenged him. Is he crazy? He actually dares to challenge that ruthless person. Some people did not think that the Azure Dragon would win. One should know that Gu Fei's reputation was built by killing, while the Azure Dragon had just become a martial saint. The gap between the two was definitely not small. The Azure Dragon is challenging Gu Fei. There's going to be a good show. Some people who came from the Soaring Dragon ancestral star and knew about the Azure Dragon had a different opinion. One should know that the Azure Dragon was the strongest existence among the 4 ancient clans of the Southern Wasteland. The 4 ancient clans of the Southern Wasteland were definitely no weaker than the forces of the primordial antiquity, especially the Azure Dragon clan. It was said that the ancestor of the clan was a pure-blooded Azure Dragon. A pure-blooded Azure Dragon was in existence that could stand shoulder to shoulder with a supremacy. However, although the Azure Dragon had called out, Gu Fei did not say anything, nor did he respond. This surprised everyone. Given Gu Fei's personality, there was no way he would back down now that the Azure Dragon had called out. However, just as the Azure Dragon called out, Gu Fei entered the deepest part of the Chaos World and found traces of the demons. Chapter 23:18. Demons appearing frequently in the Chaos World caused Gu Fei to feel uneasy. Perhaps the demons were planning something big in the Chaos World. And at this time, the Chaos Passageway became unstable. The experts of the 3 realms and 6 Daos were retreating, but the experts of the demons kept entering the Chaos World. Weren't they afraid of being trapped in the Chaos World for 10,000 years? Gu Fei didn't know why the demons would take the risk to enter the Chaos World at this time, but he noticed that there were quite a few demonic figures in the depths of the Chaos World. Could it be that these demon bastards have designs on the origin of this world? Gu Fei looked at everything coldly. What were the demons trying to do? He wanted to know that it wasn't that easy to refine the origin of the Chaos World. Perhaps, only a true paragon could take away this Chaos World. Ordinary sages didn't have the ability to do so, not even human emperors. In the depths of the Chaos World, there was a piece of chaos void. The chaos chi there was so thick that it was almost liquefied. Several demonic figures could be seen roaming outside the chaos void. Before long, Gu Fei sensed a powerful demonic aura coming from afar. Arriving in front of the chaos void, the demonic figure walked into it. He's here too. On a mountain ridge several thousand li away from the chaos void, Gu Fei was shocked. The demonic figure that walked into the chaos void was actually the Archdevil Lord Ing Tian. The Archdevil Lord was a ruthless character. He could fight the Old Tortoise endlessly. Even after the Old Tortoise used the Grand Sovereign's seal, the Archdevil Lord still managed to escape. Gu Fei asked himself, if he were to face the Archdevil Lord now, he still wouldn't have the slightest chance of winning. One had to know that the Archdevil Lord was a demon's. Even if the Archdevil Lord hadn't recovered to his peak, Ing Tian's devil physique was the true body of the Archdevil Lord. That is, not long after the Archdevil Lord Ing Tian entered the Chaos Void, another powerful devil figure appeared outside the Chaos Void. This was a devil with the body of a human, but the head of a dragon. This dragon-headed demonic figure wasn't simple. Gu Fei could tell that it was the head of the ancestor dragon. Another fiend ancestor. Gu Fei was taken aback. The aura exuding from the devil dragon was not any weaker than the Archdevil Lord Ing Tian. With 2 Archdevil Lords appearing at the same time, Gu Fei felt an immense pressure. One demon ancestor was already enough to make Gu Fei extremely fearful. Now that there was another demon ancestor, Gu Fei had no choice but to hide carefully. If he were to be discovered, he could only run away. Soon after, powerful demonic figures arrived outside the chaotic void. However, these demonic experts didn't enter the chaotic void. Instead, they stood guard outside. It seemed that only existences at the level of the devil ancestor could enter the primal chaos. In half a day's time, no less than 100 demons had gathered outside the chaos void. This caused the devil chi outside the chaos void to soar into the sky. Good heavens, so many demons have come! Gu Fei's heart skipped a beat. What in the world were they trying to do with over 100 demons gathered here? A total of 3 Archdevil Lords entered the chaos void. The last Archdevil Lord was shrouded in black lightning. A terrifying aura of destruction spread out from his body. Lightning Ancestor! Gu Fei was shocked. To think that this Archdevil Lord was a Archdevil Lord that was born from lightning. He was extremely powerful, and could be called the Lightning Ancestor. Just what is there in the Chaos Void? Gu Fei thought to himself. For 3 Archdevil Lords to descend at the same time, there must be something unimaginable within the Chaos Void. Otherwise, how could it attract all 3 Archdevil Lords? He wanted to sneak into the Chaos Void. However, the demons' defense was tight. They had sealed the entire Chaos Void, not allowing any living beings to get close. Gu Fei began to wander around the periphery of the Chaos Void. He wanted to find a chance to enter the Chaos Void, but the chance was too small. If he directly killed his way in, the demons outside the Chaos Void wouldn't be a match for Gu Fei. However, once he made a move, he would definitely alarm the 3 Archdevil Lords inside the Chaos Void. If that happened, he would be finished. Gu Fei didn't want to die. That little Baldy is here too. Just as Gu Fei was at his wit's end, he caught sight of a sneaky figure. It was a little monk wearing a white monk robe and holding a violet gold alms bowl. Who else could this little monk be but Fan Xiu? Fan Xiu didn't notice Gu Fei. One should know that Gu Fei had grasped the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao. One of the 9 secrets, the anti-void secret art, could allow a person's aura to be infinitely close to nature. Even if Fan Xiu had become a Saint Emperor, it would be difficult for him to sense Gu Fei's presence. Moreover, Fan Xiu hadn't even become a Saint Emperor yet. Little Baldy Fan Xiu, you're out of luck. As Gu Fei spoke, he directly sent a palm towards Fan Xiu, while his other palm was aimed at the demons in front of Fan Xiu. Boom! The violent force directly shook Fan Xiu out. At the same time, the demons guarding outside the Chaos Void were sent flying by Gu Fei's palm force, coughing up blood. Enemy attack! In front of the chaotic void, shouts could be heard from all directions. Immediately after, the experts of the devil race soared into the sky and pounced towards Fan Xiu. Gu Fei, you bastard! Seeing the countless demons pouncing towards him, Fan Xiu immediately stomped his feet and turned to flee. The demons had no intention of letting Fan Xiu go. They chased after him, leaving only a few demons behind to guard the Chaos Void. Swoosh! Gu Fei stealthily approached them and suddenly exploded. With a punch, a demon's head immediately exploded. He stepped out and directly stomped another demon's head into its chest. He killed 2 Devil Clan experts in an instant, but the 3rd Devil Clan expert was blasted into a cloud of blood mist by his palm, directly annihilated in both body and soul. Gu Fei's cultivation base was much higher than those demon race experts. Those demon race experts didn't even have the strength to fight back. Swoosh! After killing the demons, Gu Fei directly entered the Chaos Void. What's going on? As soon as Gu Fei entered the Chaos Void, he felt a faintly discernible demonic aura. Although the demonic aura was weak, it made Gu Fei's heart palpitate. He carefully, stealthily moved forward. All he could see was the nearly liquefied chaos chi. Cultivating here would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. However, Gu Fei did not come here to cultivate. Suddenly, Gu Fei saw a figure standing in front of him. This figure exuded a demonic aura and a powerful life wave spread from the body of this demon. Gu Fei stopped. His Tao power was vast and mighty. He was ready to make a move at any time. However, the demon opposite him did not move. How is this possible? When Gu Fei saw the demon standing in front of him, he was shocked to the extreme. It was a demon with a single horn on its head, wearing battle armor and holding a spear in its hand. It had a human body and was a demon with a human body. The demon's eyes were closed. Although there was a powerful life wave coming from its body, it did not seem to sense Gu Fei's arrival. When Gu Fei carefully looked at the demon, he was shocked to find that the demon was automatically devouring and transforming the surrounding chaos chi. This time, Gu Fei could not help but be moved. He thought of a certain possibility, which made his expression change. Using chaos chi to nourish the demon soldier. Such a generous move. Gu Fei found it hard to imagine that the demon race had probably already laid out this trap in the distant past. This was because he discovered that the demon soldier's body had actually condensed an immortal divinity. This demon soldier was extremely powerful. It was a terrible killing tool. This is too extravagant. Gu Fei was inexplicably shocked. He continued to move forward and saw the demon soldiers standing quietly in the chaos chi. They were nourished by the chaos chi day and night. The demons wanted to create an indestructible demon soldier. Who is it? Just as Gu Fei was shocked by the demon's generous move, a loud shout suddenly sounded. Then, a powerful demonic power erupted in an instant. A demon shadow directly rushed towards Gu Fei, wanting to directly kill Gu Fei. Bang! Gu Fei punched out. A powerful wave of power rushed out from his fist, and then blasted towards the demon shadow that was rushing towards him. Bang! Gu Fei and the demon shadow clashed head-on. Gu Fei could not help but fall back. The demon shadow that attacked was also knocked back by Gu Fei's fist force. Huh! The demon shadow was very surprised that the other party could actually take his punch. This surprised him. After clashing head-on with the demon, Gu Fei retreated into the primal chaos chi. Trying to escape? The demon shadow roared and stretched out his hand. A black demon claw immediately rushed out from the demon shadow's hand and grabbed at Gu Fei, who was hidden in the chaos chi. Buzz! A sword sound rang out. A black light slashed out from the chaos chi. The sword split the black demon shadow's claw in half and dissipated in the void. What happened? At this moment, the incomparably powerful spiritual will of the two powerful beings transmitted over. You guys continue. I'll be back after I kill this guy, the demons said coldly. They seemed to be really doing something. Finish this quickly. From the depths of the chaos chi, such words came out. Got it. The demon shadow seemed a little impatient. This was a demon ancestor dragon with a human body and a dragon head. He was extremely powerful. However, this wasn't the true cultivation of this demon shadow. This demon shadow's essence chi was injured and had yet to recover. You want to kill me? Dream on. Gu Fei's voice came out from the chaos chi. He was very confident. Is that so? Chapter 23:19. Gu Fei had entered the depths of the chaos world and discovered the secret of the demons. This caused the demon ancestor dragon to make a move and swear to kill him. The demon ancestor dragon was extremely powerful. Even though it wasn't a true ancestor dragon that had turned into a demon, anyone who knew about the demon ancestor dragon's background would know that this demon ancestor dragon was a true ancestor dragon. Kill! The demon ancestor dragon roared out and struck out at Gu Fei. Endless chaos chi was being converted into demonic chi as a gigantic demonic claw the size of a mountain appeared in the world, grabbing out at Gu Fei. Heaven-encompassing palm! Gu Fei did not dare to waste any time as he deployed his martial arts battle skill. A gigantic chaos hand appeared before him and slapped out, causing the entire world to tremble with the power of chaos. Boom! A loud explosion rang out as the chaos hand that Gu Fei had struck out clashed with the demon ancestor dragon's demon dragon claw, causing a deafening explosion. The surrounding chaos chi was immediately dispersed by the destructive power, forming a void that was tens of thousands of miles wide without any chaos chi within the chaos. After the chaos chi was dispersed, A series of demonic figures that were hidden within the chaos chi appeared before Gu Fei's eyes. This is. When he caught sight of this, he could not help but be startled. Within the void, there were tens of thousands of demonic figures standing silently. Every single one of them was emitting a peerlessly powerful ripple of the demonic Tao. Every single one of them had the cultivation state of a saint. That was tens of thousands of demon saints. This had Gu Fei's scalp going numb. If so many demon saints were to appear, they would most probably be able to sweep through the entire human realm. The demons were truly going all out. Using the chaos chi to nourish these countless demon soldiers, these demons were clearly trying to create an invincible demon army. The destructive power that resulted from the clash between Gu Fei and the demon ancestor dragon spread out. However, it did not affect the countless demon generals at all. Those demon generals that were standing quietly in the void did not wake up from their slumber either. You can go and die now. The devil ancestor dragon struck out once more. This human before him had already found out about their secret. This human had to die. The void trembled as a terrifying demonic power erupted from Mo Zulong's body. 9 demonic patterns were imprinted in the void, sealing the entire world. Humph! Gu Fei snorted coldly. He directly tore the void and rushed out. What? Mo Zulong was evidently taken aback. He hadn't expected this human to be able to tear apart the void that he had sealed with his 9 Tao patterns. Seemed like this human wasn't simple at all. Escape? Do you think you can escape? The demon ancestor dragon was very powerful. As an existence at the level of the demon ancestor, he had the capital to be arrogant. He chased after them. The matter that the demons had prepared for countless years couldn't be leaked. However, Gu Fei displayed his extreme speed of 8 steps and instantly left Mo Zulong in shock. Shwa! 2 devil wings appeared on Mo ancestral dragon's back. The devil wings fluttered, and Mo Zulong's speed was instantly raised to an unimaginable state. To think that he would be able to close the distance between him and Gu Fei by quite a bit. The devil wings on Mo Zulong's back had demonic patterns appearing faintly. Each time they fluttered, the distance between them and Gu Fei would close by a little bit. It was extremely fast. This demon. Looking at how the demon ancestor dragon could chase after him, Gu Fei was startled beyond words. To think that the other party's speed wouldn't be any slower than his extreme speed of 8 steps. Both of them were extremely fast. Before long, Gu Fei had rushed out of the chaos and returned to the chaos world. However, he didn't stop as he continued to fly forward. Are all humans scoundrels? Do you dare to stop and fight? The voice of the demon ancestor dragon rang out in Gu Fei's mind. He was using his consciousness to send a message. Humph! Catch up to me and I'll fight you! Gu Fei replied, unwilling to back down. Scoundrels will always be scoundrels. They only know how to run. The voice of the demon ancestor dragon continued to ring out in Gu Fei's mind. He wanted to provoke Gu Fei to stop and fight him. However, Gu Fei turned a deaf ear to the words of the demon ancestor. He continued to flee for his life. It wasn't that he didn't dare to fight the demon ancestor dragon, but that he had some misgivings. Within the chaos world's chaos essence, there were still 2 demon ancestor level existences. If those 2 demon ancestors were to attack him, he wouldn't be a match at all. Once he was far away from the chaos essence, Gu Fei suddenly stopped on a large mountain. Haha, why aren't you running anymore? Continue running! The demon ancestor dragon laughed as he chased after Gu Fei. He also arrived at the mountain peak and stood in front of Gu Fei. He stared at Gu Fei with an incomparably cold gaze. What a joke! Do you really not know why I lured you here? Gu Fei looked at the demon ancestor dragon and said indifferently. Could it be that you? The demon ancestor dragon's shock was no small matter. He could vaguely feel a trace of unease. Bang! Gu Fei didn't say anything else. He directly struck out with his chaos fist. The power of chaos surged, causing the entire mountain beneath his feet to tremble. Countless rocks rolled down from the mountain. Roar! The demon ancestor dragon roared angrily. The power of the devil Tao surged. 9 devil marks interweaved, sealing the void. An incomparably huge figure of a demon dragon appeared in the world. You want to decide the victor in a single move? Gu Fei was taken aback. The chaos fist that he struck out was completely dispelled by the demon ancestor dragon's powerful true form. The demon ancestor dragon had transformed into his true form. This was a demon dragon that was as huge as a mountain. With just a swing of his tail, he sent Gu Fei flying. Puny human, what right do you have to fight me? The voice of the demon ancestor dragon rang out in Gu Fei's heart. After that, the demon ancestor dragon opened its mouth and sucked in. A part of the void collapsed. Even Gu Fei was sucked into the mouth of the demon ancestor dragon. This demon ancestor dragon wanted to swallow Gu Fei whole. You! Gu Fei was shocked. He couldn't control his body and was actually swallowed by the demon ancestor dragon. At the instant he was swallowed by the demon ancestor dragon, a ball of chaos divine light surged out from Gu Fei's body. It turned into a light barrier that enveloped him. Haha, I'm just pretending to be weak. To think that you would dare to swallow me into your stomach. You're courting death. Gu Fei's voice rang out in the heart of the demon ancestor dragon. This caused the demon ancestor dragon to turn pale. All of this was because the other party was pretending to be weak. How could this be possible? Bang! At this moment Gu Fei punched out. The violent power nearly pierced through the body of the demon ancestor dragon, causing it to spit out a mouthful of blood. You! The demon ancestor dragon was shocked and enraged. To think that the other party would really attack in its stomach. Boom! Gu Fei stepped out once more. The powerful force immediately caused the bones of the demon ancestor dragon to crack. The demon ancestor dragon's face turned extremely pale. Roar! Chapter 23:20. Without any hesitation, Gu Fei and demon ancestral dragon's essence soul began fighting. With demon ancestral dragon's body as the battlefield, demon ancestral dragon's body was quickly destroyed into a mess. Boom! Gu Fei fiercely clashed with demon ancestral dragon's essence soul. The two experts rushed out of demon ancestral dragon's body and continued their battle outside. Essence soul fiend bodies were extremely powerful. Demon ancestral dragon's essence soul fiend body held 2 ancestral dragon horns. They were demonic artifacts refined from the ancestral dragon horns he shed. Clang! Gu Fei remained empty-handed, but his hands constantly clashed with the demonic sage artifact in demon ancestral dragon's essence soul fiend buddy's hands, producing metallic clanging sounds. Your fleshly body has actually become so powerful. Demon ancestral dragon's essence soul fiend body was extremely alarmed. One had to know that the ancestral dragon horn in his hands was a true fiend ancestral weapon, but it couldn't do a thing to his opponent. The fiend ancestor is only SOSO, said Gu Fei. You! Demon ancestral dragon was alarmed and furious. He vaguely felt that he had fallen into a trap. His opponent had feigned ignorance to lure him here. You! If you truly had the cultivation level and combat strength of a fiend ancestor, you would have long killed me on the spot, said Gu Fei. He could sense that his opponent's cultivation level and combat strength did not match his title as the fiend ancestor. This old fiend had yet to recover his yuan qi. It was hard to imagine what had happened back then, that even a sage would perish and the fiend ancestor would be severely injured. Even after countless years, it was still difficult for him to recover his peak cultivation level. Gu Fei's overwhelming might forced demon ancestral dragon's essence soul fiend body to constantly retreat. Finally, Gu Fei cast the Heaven Ascension mystic art. His combat strength increased tenfold, sending the ancestral dragon horn in demon ancestral dragon's essence soul fiend body flying. Then, he charged over and plucked off demon ancestral dragon's head. An extremely powerful fiend ancestor was slain by Gu Fei just like that. Things of the devils. Gu Fei took out the mountain and river cauldron and placed the 2 ancestral dragon horns into it. The only thing that caught Gu Fei's eye on this demon ancestral dragon was the pair of ancestral dragon horns. The fiend ancestral dragon was unlucky to have encountered Gu Fei. If it had encountered an ordinary sage, the fiend ancestral dragon would have been able to slay it even if its yuan qi had not recovered. This demon ancestor dragon had only recovered the cultivation of a saint king. Cultivators were invincible in the same realm. Even though they were both saint king level existences, it wasn't easy for Gu Fei to kill Mo Zulong. However, once Gu Fei used the Heaven Ascension secret technique, killing Mo Zulong would be much easier. Just as Gu Fei killed the demon ancestor dragon, a wave of demonic power emerged from the depths of the Chaos World. In that instant, the sages who had yet to leave the Chaos World sensed it. All the sages were extremely shocked. Demons! Some of the ancient sages immediately charged into the depths of the primordial chaos. Rumble! Following that, the entire primordial chaos world shook. It was as though doomsday had arrived. Endless primordial chaos qi gathered towards the depths of the primordial chaos world. "What are those demons trying to do?" an ancient sage said. The commotion caused by this incident was simply too great, attracting the attention of various powers. Demons were gathering endless primordial chaos qi. One after another, extremely powerful figures walked out from the primordial chaos qi of the primordial chaos world. "That's..." A tall demonic figure appeared with a demonic aura. "Die, demons!" Some of the ancient sages who had rushed over immediately attacked. A huge golden seal descended from the sky. It emitted a terrifying sage-level power as it smashed towards the demons below. Rumble! As the golden seal smashed down, the void was annihilated. It displayed its peerless might. However, a scene that left everyone dumbfounded appeared. The demon that walked out from the primordial chaos qi of the primordial chaos world did not dodge the golden seal at all. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Dust flew everywhere. Hideous cracks appeared on the ground. These cracks extended far into the distance, and one could not see the end of it. The demon was actually smashed deep into the ground by the golden seal. "Haha, that's all there is to it. I thought that some peerless demon would be born." A figure rushed over from afar. His entire body was pulsating with golden divine light. It was as though golden flames were rising, illuminating the dark sky and earth with a golden hue. However, when he retracted the golden seal, his expression changed. The person that was smashed deep into the ground by his seal was actually still alive. It was simply a miracle that he did not die after taking a blow from a sage weapon. Demonic weapons that walked out from the primordial chaos qi possessed immortal divinity. Let alone ordinary sage weapons, even great sage weapons would find it hard to destroy such demonic weapons. After killing the demon ancestor dragon, Gu Fei returned to the vicinity of the primordial chaos world. Roar! A furious roar came from deep underground. Following that, primordial chaos qi soared into the sky. A figure rushed out from the ground. Swoosh! The demonic weapon attacked the middle-aged man with the golden seal. The demonic spear in the demonic weapon's hand pierced through the void and instantly reached the middle-aged man's forehead. So fast! The middle-aged man was shocked. He immediately rolled to the ground and dodged the incoming spear. Then, he jumped up from the ground and drove the golden seal towards the demonic weapon. Kill! Without any words, the two experts started fighting. The immortal weapon had the upper hand. He only attacked and did not defend. He was not worried that his demonic body would be injured. Even if the middle-aged man destroyed his demonic body, the demonic body would quickly regenerate. In the end, the immortal weapon actually killed the sage who wielded the divine weapon on the spot. What? When they caught sight of this, everyone was stunned. That was a saint! And he was killed just like that. After killing the middle-aged man, the immortal weapon did not attack again. Instead, it returned to the primordial chaos world. Haha, I finally succeeded. From the primordial chaos world came such a laughter. What's going on? Everyone was confused. Only Gu Fei knew what was going on. At this moment, Gu Fei's face was a little ugly. The moment he thought of the countless immortal weapons that he had seen, he felt his scalp go numb. One immortal weapon could kill a sage. If 1,000 or 10,000 demonic weapons were to attack at the same time, the person controlling the demonic weapon would not be afraid of anyone. A calamity of the human world. Chapter 23-21. The source ground of the chaos world was undergoing a massive change. The demons had been refining an undying demon weapon within the source ground for countless of years, and they had finally succeeded. By the time the ancient saints arrived, it was already too late. A single demon weapon had appeared and killed an ancient saint instantly. This was something that had everyone shocked to the max. After killing that ancient saint, the demon weapon retreated back into the source ground of chaos and disappeared from sight. However, the demonic aura that was emanating out of the source ground of chaos was getting stronger and stronger. Eventually, the demonic chi shot up into the sky and converged into a gigantic demon shadow. That is, the gigantic demon shadow gave off an extremely ancient aura, as though it had originated from the primordial times. It was extremely chilling, and all the saints present were stunned. Chaos demon! When Gu Fei caught sight of this, he could not help but be surprised. He could feel that this demonic chi was different from the rest. Could this truly be a trap laid out by the demon that was born from the chaos? No one dared to enter the source ground of chaos casually. One had to know that an ancient saint had just died in the hands of that demon earlier on. Ha! After all these years, I've finally succeeded. You guys have come just in time. I'll start with you guys. A burst of laughter rang out from the source ground of chaos. Everyone was taken aback as they glared ahead warily. Go on! Kill all of these people! Another voice rang out. After that, a series of demon shadows walked out from the chaos one after another. Every single one of these demon shadows gave off a supremely powerful demonic Tao aura, causing the entire world to tremble. Rumble! The void was quaking as the entire world lost its colors. What? How could this be? The horrifying demonic might had everyone trembling in fear. Everyone was dumbfounded with their jaws agape as they looked ahead in disbelief. This is heaven revolting! Some of the ancient saints muttered out with a quivering voice. There were countless of demon shadows, and all of them were demon saints. How could this be? How could something as such happen? Tens of thousands of demon saints had appeared at the same time. Even if all the demon saints from the ancient times were added up, there wouldn't be that many of them. How in the world did they do this? Kill! Some of the demon ancestors roared out in rage. After that, those countless demon shadows surged out like a tidal wave and rushed out at the masses. The demon chi spread out for a distance of 100,000 miles. This was an incomparably shocking scene. Thousands upon thousands of demon sages were like an army as they charged towards the human race ancient sages. Some of the human ancient sages wanted to flee, but in the next moment, all of them felt despair. This part of the world was enveloped by a peerless demonic might. An unimaginable demonic power sealed the entire world, making it impossible for anyone to escape. You think I'm afraid of you? Some of the ancient sages immediately took action, riding on their sacred weapons and charging forward. Dazzling sacred light illuminated the chaotic world, breaking through the layers of demonic chi and charging into the army of demon saints. Just like a torch falling into the sea, the human race ancient sage was instantly drowned by the army of demon sages. The army of demons charged through and a powerful human race ancient sage fell just like that. Everyone was dumbfounded. This army of demon sages was truly terrifying. Thousands upon thousands of demon sages were gathered together. At this moment, the strength of an individual was nothing in front of the countless demon sages. Let's fight. We're going to die either way. Let's kill as many as we can. Someone roared. Even if they were to die, they would drag someone down with them. Kill! Some of the ancient sages joined forces and charged forward. The other ancient sages gathered together as well. In the face of countless demon sages, only by joining forces would they have a chance of survival. Everyone began to fight with their lives on the line. Dozens of ancient sages split into 3 groups. Like 3 sharp blades, they pierced into the army of demon sages that were charging at them. An unavoidable battle had erupted. Buzz! A primal chaos umbrella opened up, and a heaven-devouring force gushed out from the bottom of the umbrella, sucking the 3 demon soldiers into it before refining them with all their might. However, the demon soldiers had an immortal demonic nature on them. The primal chaos divine fire within the primal chaos umbrella could not refine them. The 3 demon soldiers gave it their all and actually broke out of the primal chaos umbrella. What? The owner of the primal chaos umbrella was shocked. This was a saint weapon that was refined by a saint emperor. It was unbelievable that it could not refine these demon soldiers. Dozens of demon soldiers attacked the owner of the primal chaos umbrella together. Preposterous! All of you die? The owner of the primal chaos umbrella burned his divine energy. An extremely strong destructive force erupted from his body, shaking the entire space. Boom! A loud sound was heard. A ball of golden light exploded. The destructive force turned into golden divine fire. It instantly swept 100,000 miles and enveloped all the demon soldiers. The owner of the primal chaos umbrella self-destructed. The human ancient sages retreated immediately. However, the demon soldiers did not seem to know the danger at all. They did not retreat, and continued to chase after the human ancient sages. Under the cover of the golden divine fire, countless demon soldiers were burnt to ashes. The demon sages disappeared just like that. Human race ancient sages could only retreat in defeat because the difference in strength between the 2 sides was too great. In the face of such a situation, even Gu Fei was helpless. He could only retreat together with the sages. This day was the darkest day of the chaotic world. The demon saint army suddenly appeared. Under the leadership of the 2 demon ancestors, they swept the entire chaotic world. Fortunately, many of the human race had left the chaotic world before this. Otherwise, the human race would have suffered even greater losses. Such an army of demon sages appeared in the chaos world and swept through everything. Countless human cultivators and alien races of the chaos world were killed off. The news spread, shaking the 3 realms and 6 daos. After that, the human race in the 3 realms and 6 daos began to move. A large number of experts entered the chaotic world again. There were even experts from the superforces that brought powerful sacred weapons that could destroy the immortal demonic nature. What do the demons want to do? In the ancestral court of the dragon race in the heaven realm, the old turtle's expression became a little ugly. He felt a little uneasy. The final show was about to begin. We are not ready yet. Could it be that the demons are ready? The old turtle muttered to himself. After receiving the news from the chaotic world, he thought of many things. An army of tens of thousands of demon saints was really a big move. He did not enter the chaotic world again because there was a great enemy secretly watching him. If he left the heaven realm, then that great enemy might attack the ancestral court of the dragon race again. The demon race was not peaceful. In the past, the Tai Huang had offended many people, especially his competitors. In the end, the Tai Huang won and cultivated the supreme body. They are really haunting us. The old turtle sighed. This time, the ancestral court of the dragon race was almost breached. If the old turtle had not rushed back in time, his nest would have been destroyed. The power of the other side began to surface, which made the old turtle very afraid. The dark chaos in the chaotic world did not last long because Jiang Huang's aura appeared in this part of the chaotic world. The aura of the human sovereign spread throughout the chaotic world. The human ancient saints were surprised and happy. Jiang Huang and the demon saint army met. The battle was earth-shattering and attracted the attention of the 10 ancient saints. Gu Fei was also in the crowd. When the human sovereign made his move, even the powerful demon saint army could not withstand it. Countless sacred-level demonic soldiers were destroyed by the human sovereign. Their immortal demonic nature was destroyed, and these sacred-level demonic soldiers could not be reborn. The demon lording Tian and the lightning ancestor of the demons saw that the situation was not right. They hurriedly brought the remaining sacred-level demonic soldiers back to the chaotic world. Chapter 23-22. Jiang Renhuang had forced the two great demon ancestors back to the origin ground of the chaotic world. They did not dare to come out again. However, even someone as powerful as Renhuang did not enter the origin ground of the chaotic world to completely eliminate this threat. There was something in the origin source of the chaotic world that made Jiang Renhuang apprehensive. Perhaps it wasn't time yet. No one knew the reason. Jiang Renhuang left. The human race had suffered heavy losses in this battle. Dozens of ancient sages had died in battle. Many local lifeforms had died as well. Even the powerful remnants of chaos weren't a match for the immortal demon soldiers. Gu Fei lingered outside the origin source of the chaotic world for a few days before leaving. It's time to return to the soaring dragon ancestral star. Very soon, Gu Fei appeared outside the chaotic passageway leading to the soaring dragon ancestral star. This time, Fan Xiu didn't appear. With Gu Fei's current cultivation, even little monk Fan Xiu wouldn't be willing to take action against him. After all, the strength of a king's sage wasn't something an ordinary sage could compare to. Before returning to the soaring dragon ancestral star, Gu Fei sent Ji Changkong to the chaotic passageway leading to the myrtle ancestral star. Ji Changkong wanted to return to the Ji clan and take back everything that belonged to him. It was time to settle the scores from 10,000 years ago. Without hesitation, Gu Fei entered the chaotic passageway and moved forward quickly. Rumble! The chaotic passageway suddenly shook. Chaotic aura lingered and the entire passageway seemed like it was about to collapse. It became very unstable. It wouldn't be long before the passageway disappeared. At this time, everyone who entered the chaotic passageway began their return journey. No one wanted to be trapped in the chaotic world for 10,000 years. Just as Gu Fei disappeared into the chaotic passageway, a pale-faced monk holding a purple gold alms bowl walked over from afar. That maleficent star finally left. Fan Xiu looked at the entrance of the chaotic passageway and muttered to himself. Then, Fan Xiu didn't enter the chaotic passageway. Instead, he turned around and left. It seemed like he didn't want to leave the chaotic world just yet. After Fan Xiu left, a few figures appeared at the entrance of the chaotic passageway. They paced around the entrance for a while before leaving. That person has left. We can start now. On a small island in the depths of the Chaos Divine Sea in the Chaos World, someone said. Not long after, a shocking pressure erupted from the small island. It was a terrifying pressure that surpassed that of a saint. The heavens shook and the entire chaotic divine ocean churned. The countless ferocious beasts residing in the chaotic divine sea all retreated into the distance. Even the powerful remnant species of chaos were no exception. Someone had triggered the Sage King Tribulation. If Great Ancestor succeeds, our Dongfang family will fear no one. In the distant sky, someone was muttering. Right at this moment, a terrifying pressure descended from the 9 heavens. Boom! When the pressure landed on the island, the entire island immediately exploded. Then, it sank into the Chaos Sea, and the entire sea surface sank 1,000 feet. Someone has triggered the Sage King Tribulation again. Terrifying sagely might filled the world. In that instant, the ancient sages in the Chaos world who had yet to retreat sensed it. All the ancient sages who sensed it entered the Chaos Divine Sea. Someone had triggered the Sage King Tribulation and attracted the attention of all the ancient sages. One should know that above sages were sage kings, the kings among sages. Didn't these ancient sages cultivate their entire lives just to become paragons? By observing others go through the tribulation and accumulating some experience, they would be able to deal with it calmly when it came to their own tribulation. This was a great ancestor of the Dongfang family undergoing the tribulation. This was also why the people of the Dongfang family only dared to jump out after Gu Fei left the Chaos world. In another region of the Chaos Divine Sea, someone was undergoing the tribulation too. This person was wearing a mask and was bathing in tribulation lightning, desperately resisting the Sage King Tribulation. If Gu Fei can become a saint, so can I, Dongwang. The mysterious masked person muttered to himself. The mysterious masked man muttered to himself. 2 incomparably bright eyes shot out from the eye sockets on the mask. They were incomparably sharp. Dongwang was undergoing the tribulation. Dong Wang was the most outstanding descendant that the Eastern world had nurtured. In the eastern region of the soaring dragon ancestral planet, he was a powerful existence that was as famous as the goddess of the Zhao family. Is my Beitang family really unable to escape the fate of being exterminated? While Dong Wang was undergoing the tribulation, in the sky above a region of the chaos divine sea, under the endless bombardment of tribulation lightning, a person spoke in despair. This person came from the Beitang family of the soaring dragon ancestral planet. However, this person failed to undergo the tribulation and fell from the sky. Before he could fall into the sea, he was blasted into ashes by the destructive tribulation lightning. Not everyone could successfully undergo the tribulation, and not everyone could become a sage. This era was an opportunity that would bring about a great change in the world. Over the countless years, there were too many people who were stuck at the great completion quasi-sage realm. This era was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for those who had the qualifications to break through to the sage realm. No one wanted to miss this opportunity. Hence, many people died. Out of 10,000 people, only 1 or 2 succeeded. The land of the case world was dyed red with blood. Since the collapse of the great desolate world, no one knew how many great completion quasi-sages had appeared in the 3 realms and 6 das. Some of the forces that had a grudge against Gu Fei only dared to jump out after Gu Fei left the chaos world. Gu Fei is already a sage king. On a mountain ridge in the chaos world, there were 2 people, a man and a woman. The man was incomparably handsome with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. The woman was petite and cute, full of spirit. Big brother, we might not be enemies with Gu Fei, the woman in purple said. Humph, your big brother almost died in his hands, the young man in purple said. But that person is a freak. His cultivation speed is so fast. Even the Supreme Ancestor's cultivation speed was not as fast as him, Ziyuner said. She did not want her big brother to be in danger. That Gu Fei was definitely an extremely dangerous person. Whoever offended him would be unlucky. I will have to fight him eventually, Ziyunshao said. Although Gu Fei had already cultivated the Sage King physique, Ziyunshao was not weak either. He was only half a step away from breaking through to the Sage King realm. The Ziyunshao siblings were blessed by the heavens. They had inherited the power of the Supreme Ancestor's bloodline. The Supreme Ziyunshao had left a backup plan for his descendants, allowing the siblings to safely pass the Sage Tribulation. This was the foundation of a family that had once produced a Supreme Ancestor. It was not difficult for them to become a sage. Sigh. Ziyuner sighed and did not say anything else. We are finally back. Chapter 23-23. As the last wave of tribulation transcendence occurred in the chaotic world, Gu Fei returned to the soaring dragon ancestral star. I'm finally back. Gu Fei stood on top of a mountain and breathed in the fresh air. He felt relaxed as he sensed the vitality around him. He felt like he had returned to nature. The chaotic world lacked vitality. Staying there for too long would drive one crazy, as it was a monotonous world. However, the real world was different. The soaring dragon ancestral star was full of vitality. The mountains were covered in greenery, and there were all kinds of birds and beasts roaming around. Compared to the chaotic world, this world was a rich and colorful one. Gu Fei returned to the soaring dragon ancestral star through the chaotic tunnel, but he realized he was lost. He had no idea where he was. The soaring dragon ancestral star was huge, and the soaring dragon continent was only the largest continent. Apart from the soaring dragon continent, there were 3 other continents on the soaring dragon ancestral star. These 3 continents were located in the Fallen God Ocean. The Fallen God Ocean was said to be an endless ocean that even gods couldn't cross. Gu Fei soared into the sky and arrived high up in the sky. When Gu Fei saw the scenery around him, he couldn't help but be shocked. The sound of waves came from a few thousand li away from the mountains. This wasn't the bitter cold land of the extreme north. Gu Fei realized that he might not be on the soaring dragon continent. He might be overseas. What's going on with the chaotic tunnel? Gu Fei couldn't understand why he would appear in such a desolate place. There were no signs of humans in the mountains, but he sensed the presence of a few powerful beasts. Although the supreme force that suppressed saint-level beings in the human world was gradually weakening, the human world still didn't allow saint-level beings to appear. Gu Fei sealed himself. He flew directly in the direction of the sound of the waves. Soon, a boundless sea appeared in front of him. At this moment, he finally believed that he had been stranded overseas. Preposterous! Could it be that the exit of the primal chaos passageway changes at any time? Gu Fei had the urge to go crazy. The fallen god's sea was not a good place. Although there were 3 continents on the sea, the area of these 3 continents added up was not as vast as the Tinglong continent. However, this did not mean that there were no experts overseas. On the contrary, there was never a lack of experts overseas. After a few days, Gu Fei finally saw signs of human habitation. It was a nameless town with only a few hundred families. Everyone in these hundreds of families depended on the sea for survival. There were practically no cultivators in the little town. There was only an old man who emanated the aura of a cultivator. However, this old man was not an expert. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he had only just stepped foot into the world of cultivation. He was a cultivator at the transcending mortality stage. Xiao Chen learned from this old man that this was the Purple Sun continent. The Violet Sun continent was one of the 3 great continents in the outer seas. It was rumored that in the ancient era, a violet sun had fallen on this great continent, hence its name. A violet sun fell from the sky. Gu Fei was a little surprised. He knew that in the ancient era, there were many peerless experts who could catch the stars and the moon. Could it be that someone had really struck down a violet sun from the sky? No one knew if this was just a legend or if it really happened. Of course, Gu Fei was not interested in the legend of a violet sun falling from the sky. Right now, he needed to understand the situation of the Violet Sun continent before he knew what to do next. Gu Fei did not stay in the little town for long. Soon, he left the little town and headed towards a larger human settlement. Not long after, an ancient city appeared in front of him. This ancient city should be the Black Dragon city that the old man in the little town had mentioned. Gu Fei arrived at the gate of the Black Dragon city. He stopped and sensed carefully. Suddenly, Gu Fei's face showed a trace of surprise. He sensed that there really was a black dragon in the Black Dragon city. Gu Fei was very surprised that a member of the dragon clan would appear in such an ancient city. Apart from the Black Dragon, there were no powerful creatures in the ancient city. There were many human cultivators, but there were no strong ones among them. He walked into the ancient city directly. The moment he walked into the ancient city, the black dragon that resided in the ancient city immediately sensed him and woke up from its slumber. Roar! A dragon roar was heard, and the entire Black Dragon city seemed to be shaking. The dragon god is angry. Everyone in the ancient city was extremely shocked. The dragon god. Gu Fei saw that the people in the ancient city were in a mess. Everyone on the street was scrambling to escape in fear, as if something terrible had happened. What the hell is going on? Gu Fei grabbed a human cultivator and dragged him into an alley on the side of the street. Then, he performed the god's snatching secret skill and read the human cultivator's memory. I see. After reading the human cultivator's memory, Gu Fei finally understood what had happened. There was no dragon god in the Black Dragon city. However, a few hundred years ago, a black dragon came to this ancient city on a stormy night. After that, the Black Dragon took up residence. At this point in time, the Black Dragon city was truly the Black Dragon city. Human, this isn't a place you should be in. Go back to where you came from. A voice rang out in Gu Fei's mind. That was the consciousness of the Black Dragon. He was warning Gu Fei that he wanted to chase Gu Fei out of the ancient city. Humph! How dare a small worm like you act so insolently in front of me? Gu Fei spoke. His tone was filled with disdain, as if he was a god looking down at an ant beneath his feet. What did you say? The Black Dragon was enraged. He charged over from the sky and arrived before Gu Fei. He then reached out with his dragon claws and grabbed at Gu Fei. Bam! Gu Fei punched out with his fist. The immense force caused the dragon claws to bleed profusely, sending the black dragon flying away. Just who in the world are you? At this moment, the black dragon knew that this person was definitely not simple. Could he be a powerful being invited over by the other party? You don't seem to have the rights to know who I am, Gu Fei replied calmly. You're courting death. The black dragon was both shocked and enraged. He could sense an immense threat coming from this human. This was a dangerous person that he was extremely wary of. Even though he was enraged, he did not strike out. Ha ha! Even if I'm courting death, you won't be able to kill me! Gu Fei laughed out. Just what in the world do you want? The black dragon glared at Gu Fei and asked. I don't want anything. I just want to have a chat with you. Chapter 23-24. Gu Fei returned to the soaring dragon continent, but the destination was slightly different. He couldn't return to the soaring dragon continent directly, but to Xiang continent, one of the 3 continents in the ocean. According to legend, Xiang continent was named after a purple sun descended from the sky in the ancient times. Of course, this was only a legend. No one knew if it really happened in the past. However, Gu Fei sensed an indescribable qi the moment he left the chaotic passageway. But when he tried to sense it carefully, the qi disappeared, as if it had never existed. This made him suspect that it was just an illusion. Xiang continent wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. He wanted to understand the situation of this continent, so he came to the Black Dragon City. Unexpectedly, there was a black dragon residing in the Black Dragon City. Human, I advise you to leave this place as soon as possible, otherwise. In the sky above the Black Dragon City, a dragon and a man were facing each other. Everyone in the city was shocked to the extreme. They raised their heads and looked at the sky. No one dared to make a sound. The legend turned out to be true. There really was a dragon god in the Black Dragon City. At this moment, everyone in the city knelt on the ground, worshipping the dragon god in the sky. Otherwise what? Gu Fei smiled at the black dragon in front of him. This black dragon was extremely powerful. It was an immortal emperor true dragon. This surprised him. One should know that true dragons did exist in the human world, but Gu Fei didn't expect to see a black dragon emperor in a small city. The black dragon emperor was the emperor of the dragon race. If it was in the past, a dragon emperor was enough to sweep across a domain and become an overlord in the ancestral star. But now, the world was going to change. Those ancient saints who had lived for countless years had all jumped out. Emperor realm existences were nothing to them. Even almighty experts would find it hard to protect themselves in this world, let alone an emperor realm being. Otherwise I'll eat you, the black dragon said fiercely. Its huge body was like a mountain, hovering in the sky, giving people an incomparably powerful pressure. Of course, the powerful qi from the black dragon was ignored by Gu Fei. Hee hee, I wonder who's going to eat who, Gu Fei said with a smile. You! The black dragon seemed to have been angered by Gu Fei. Its eyes flashed with an ominous glint, as if it was about to pounce on Gu Fei. All right, I won't tease you anymore. Tell me, who is the strongest in the Purple Sun continent? Gu Fei suddenly stopped smiling and looked at the black dragon. This guy. The black dragon's heart trembled. The other party's gaze caused its heart to palpitate. After that, it obediently replied to Gu Fei's words, not daring to be the slightest bit slow. Heavenly Darch Si Yang. The black dragon knew quite a lot about the Purple Yang continent. Back then, this black dragon had been hunted down and nearly killed. Hence, it had no choice but to hide in such a small place. The strongest faction in the Purple Yang continent was the unique residence established by the Purple Yang Heavenly Emperor. The unique residence dominated the continent, and even had forces in other continents. This Heavenly Emperor Purple Sun was one of the overlords in name, and in reality. Humph, Heavenly Emperor? How dare you give me such a title? Gu Fei was very disdainful. He left the Black Dragon City and headed straight for the unique residence. He wanted to find a teleportation portal connected to the Tinglong continent and return there. The black dragon followed behind him. He knew that this human wasn't simple at all. Perhaps it wouldn't be a bad thing to follow by the side of this human. Therefore, the black dragon volunteered to be Gu Fei's guide. Gu Fei happened to need a guide as well. Even though the Purple Yang continent was not as big as the Tinglong continent, it was not small. It was extremely vast. The unique residence of the Purple Yang Heavenly Emperor was located in the central region of the Purple Yang continent. The unique residence was built on the peak of a godly mountain. A few days later, Gu Fei and the Black Dragon arrived near the godly mountain. This was the base of the Purple Yang Heavenly Emperor. Countless disciples of the unique residence appeared here. Very quickly, Gu Fei and the Black Dragon were targeted by the people of the unique residence. I heard there's a new face at the foot of the mountain. I was wondering who it was. So it's you, Long Worm. An old man stopped Gu Fei and the Black Dragon in a valley. Ancestor Hua, it's you. The Black Dragon was shocked to see the newcomer. This was one of the 5 battle ancestors under the Purple Yang Heavenly Emperor, the Ancestor Hua. You're lucky to have escaped back then. Now that you've come to me, you're courting death. The Ancestor Hua spoke coldly to the Black Dragon. At this moment, Black Dragon had already transformed into a middle-aged man and was following beside Gu Fei. He did not reveal his true form. Master, he's actually ignoring you. The Black Dragon suddenly said to Gu Fei. Master. The Ancestor Hua was shocked. This Black Dragon had actually recognized this young man as his master. Could it be that this young man had subdued this Black Dragon? This Black Dragon was extremely arrogant. Back then, the Heavenly Emperor wanted to subdue this Black Dragon as his mount, but this Black Dragon managed to escape. Of course, Gu Fei wasn't interested in the enmity between the Black Dragon and the unique residence. But now, the Black Dragon was his guide. He had the responsibility to ensure its safety. I was just about to go look for that Purple Yang Heavenly Emperor. You can go back now and call that Heavenly Emperor to see me. Gu Fei looked at the old man and said calmly, You're courting death. The old man was enraged. This fella actually dared to call the Heavenly Emperor to see him? This was too arrogant. Did he think that he was invincible? Swish. The old man reached out his right hand and grabbed at Gu Fei. An immortal light flashed as 9 Dao runes appeared on his palm. Gu Fei felt a powerful suction force coming from the old man's hand, enveloping him and trying to pull him over. He slapped out with his palm, sending the old man flying thousands of feet away. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, clearly injured. This was the difference. Even someone as powerful as the Ancestor Hua couldn't withstand a single punch from Gu Fei. All of this shocked the Black Dragon. Who are you exactly? The Ancestor Hua fell to the ground, barely able to stand. His face was as pale as paper, staring at this young man in disbelief. I'm just a passerby. Gu Fei looked at the Ancestor Hua and said, A passerby. The Ancestor Hua muttered to himself. He didn't believe what Gu Fei said. Bring me to see Heavenly Emperor Ziyang. Gu Fei was very direct. The Heavenly Emperor isn't someone you can see just because you want to. The Ancestor Hua said. Although he was defeated by Gu Fei in one move, he was still neither servile nor overbearing when facing Gu Fei. Very well, then you have no more value. Chapter 23-25. The 5 great war ancestors under Heavenly Darch Ziyang were extremely powerful. When Heavenly Darch Ziyang unified the Purple Sun continent, they had put in a lot of effort and fought for Heavenly Darch. As one of the 5 great ancestors, the Hua ancestor's cultivation was extremely strong. He was infinitely close to the saint realm. However, in front of Gu Fei, even a true saint couldn't do anything. I'll leave him to you. Seeing that the Hua ancestor wasn't willing to compromise, Gu Fei said to Black Dragon. He didn't want to waste time. He wanted to go to the Celestial Mountain and find a teleportation array that could send him to the Tinglong continent. Since Heavenly Emperor Ziyang's unique residence was the strongest power in the Violet Sun continent, there might be a teleportation array there. Thank you, Master. Black Dragon was overjoyed. The Hua ancestor was one of the people who chased after him. He stepped forward and punched the Hua ancestor. Without any suspense, the Hua ancestor vomited blood and was sent flying dozens of meters away. At this moment, the Hua ancestor couldn't stand up anymore. Was it fun chasing after me back then? Black Dragon's new and old hatred surged in his heart, and his eyes turned red. Then, he kicked the fire ancestor on the ground, causing him to fly up, and several of his ribs were broken. Kill me if you dare! The Hua ancestor roared. Killing you like this is too easy for you. Black Dragon's voice resounded. Then, he walked towards the Hua ancestor with a hideous smile. A moment later, a blood-curdling scream resounded through the air. Rumble! While Black Dragon was torturing the Hua ancestor, a powerful energy fluctuation came from the direction of the celestial mountain, shaking the entire space. War chariots rushed out from the celestial mountain towards the valley where the Hua ancestor was. Each war chariot had a general standing on it. The Heavenly Emperor is making a big move again. War chariots rolled through the air, causing the human cultivators who saw this scene to be incomparably shocked. Some people murmured. The Celestial Emperor sending out his troops was no small matter. Master, we need to leave now. If the people from the unique residence arrive, we won't be able to leave anymore, the Black Dragon said. At this time, the fire ancestor had already been abused by him to the point that he did not look like a human. He was on the verge of death, as if he could die at any time. That's exactly what I want to lure them here, Gu Fei said. He found a large boulder and jumped onto it. He then sat down and waited for the people from the unique residence to arrive. This Black Dragon was both shocked and delighted. He was shocked that Gu Fei was so strong that he didn't even place Heavenly Emperor Ziyang in his eyes. He was delighted that he could finally get his revenge. Rumble! Not long after, war chariots appeared on the horizon. They were bronze war chariots, and each war chariot exuded a powerful aura. Soon, a total of 9 chariots arrived in the sky above the valley. Someone drove the chariots and charged at Gu Fei. Good timing! Gu Fei suddenly opened his eyes, but he didn't stand up from the boulder. Instead, he directly punched forward. The ferocious chaotic fist chi immediately shook the bronze chariot that was rushing over, causing the people on the chariot to be extremely shocked. Bam! Gu Fei instantly jumped up and slammed his fist into the chariot, shattering it. The person on the chariot couldn't escape either, and was killed by Gu Fei. What? Everyone who saw this was dumbfounded. No one thought that Gu Fei would be this strong. His physical body was actually able to resist the chariot and even destroy it. Kill him! The remaining 8 war chariots surrounded Gu Fei. Formation runes were faintly discernible on the war chariots, giving off powerful fluctuations that made one's heart palpitate. Humph, you're courting death. Gu Fei coldly snorted and soared into the sky towards the 8 chariots. He unleashed the chaotic fist chi, and not long after, the remaining 8 chariots were also destroyed. You! The Hua ancestor couldn't help but turn pale at this scene. His opponent was too strong. It seemed like no one on the Divine Mountain could fight against him. The other battle ancestors weren't on the mountain, but even if all of them were here, they wouldn't be able to fight against this person. Where is Heavenly Emperor Ziyang? Gu Fei continued to ask. I don't know. I really don't know. Only one person knows where Heavenly Emperor is, and that's him, the Hua ancestor said. Is that so? Gu Fei couldn't help but ponder. It seemed like he didn't have to find Heavenly Emperor Ziyang. It seemed like he would have to make a trip to the Divine Mountain to see if he could find the teleportation array. Let's go. Let's go to the Divine Mountain. Without hesitation, Gu Fei walked out of the valley and headed towards the Divine Mountain. Master, wait for me. Black Dragon didn't kill the Hua ancestor. However, before he left, he crushed the Hua ancestor's dantian and destroyed his cultivation. Roar! The Hua ancestor roared in anger. Destroying his cultivation was equivalent to killing him. Moreover, there were traces of ferocious beasts everywhere in this mountain range. It was very dangerous for an ordinary person to travel in this mountain range. After destroying the Hua ancestor's cultivation, Black Dragon chased after Gu Fei. Soon, he caught up with Gu Fei and headed towards the unique residence with Gu Fei. The unique residence was a sacred place for cultivation in the Purple Sun continent. Most of the cultivators in the Purple Sun continent were disciples of the unique residence. The news that someone had killed the 9 battle generals of the unique residence spread like wildfire. The entire cultivation world of the Purple Sun continent was shaken. Someone actually dared to attack the unique residence. It was unbelievable. The unique residence was the strongest force in the Purple Sun continent. Its power and foundation were unimaginable for ordinary people. Heavenly Emperor Ziyang was rumored to be an ancient saint. However, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang was extremely mysterious. No one had ever seen his face. Not long after, Gu Fei appeared at the foot of the unique sacred mountain. He was in no hurry to ascend the mountain after seeing it. I didn't think that someone in the Purple Sun continent would know this kind of formation. Gu Fei's expression turned solemn as he observed the surrounding forces of heaven and earth. It wasn't without reason that Heavenly Emperor Ziyang built the unique residence at the peak of the unique sacred mountain. At the bottom of the unique sacred mountain was the Purple Sun continent's ancestral vein. Someone had laid down a killing formation around the divine mountain. This killing formation had triggered the power of heaven and earth, gathering the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from all directions. Countless years had passed, and the power gathered by this formation had definitely reached an unimaginable level. Chapter 23-26. To the cultivators of the Xiang continent, the unique immortal mountain was a holy land. Everyone took pride in entering the residence of the unique immortal. The unique immortal mountain was definitely the #1 mountain in the Xiang continent. It was irreplaceable and unique in the Xiang continent. There wouldn't be a second mountain like this. This Heavenly Emperor Ziyang sure knows how to find a place. Early in the morning, Gu Fei stood on top of a small mountain a few hundred miles away from the unique immortal mountain. He stared at the towering mountain and couldn't help but sigh. Using the ancestral vein of the unique immortal mountain to set up a killing trap. It seems like this Heavenly Emperor Ziyang isn't simple. Gu Fei mumbled to himself. He had checked out the area around the unique immortal mountain. This killing formation was not simple. It drew upon the essence of the ancestral vein of the earth. He didn't have much confidence in breaking in by force. Even if he used the cauldron of mountain and river, even if he managed to break in, it would cause irrecoverable damage. Countless living beings would die. This wasn't something Gu Fei wanted to see. It seems like I need to let them come out for some fresh air. As Gu Fei spoke, he stretched out his hand and drew a line in the air before him. A space gate appeared in the air and a dozen people walked out from it. Master! The dozen people quickly bowed to Gu Fei. They were the Iron Blood Taoist and the 12 bandits. Qilong and Yao Yu were in isolation and didn't come out. Think of a way. See if you can find the teleportation portal to the Tanglong continent here. Gu Fei ordered the Iron Blood Taoist and the others. Yes. The Iron Blood Taoist and the 12 bandits accepted the order and rushed in all directions. They quickly disappeared under the blue sky. After sending the Iron Blood Taoist and the others away, Gu Fei sat down on top of a small mountain. He didn't have to do everything himself. This was the benefit of building his own force. As long as he gave the order, his subordinates would do it. The Iron Blood Taoist and the 12 bandits appeared near the unique immortal mountain. This made the people of the unique immortal residence extremely nervous. Conflicts and killings were unavoidable. The peaceful Xiang continent was no longer peaceful. Rumble! Not long after, the sound of thunder came from an ancient city 1,000 miles away. There were powerful cultivators fighting. That ancient city was called Sky Thunder City. Black Dragon, go take a look! On the small peak, Gu Fei suddenly said. At this time, Black Dragon had already turned around. He didn't find anything, but he fought with the people of Unique Abode and was forced to retreat. Yes, Master. After receiving the order, Black Dragon immediately headed to Sky Thunder City, and soon arrived near Sky Thunder City. In the sky above Sky Thunder City, two silhouettes were moving quickly. One of the silhouettes was emitting a dazzling electric light. Thunder rumbled in the sky and a destructive aura spread in the sky. Lightning was the power of heavenly punishment. Very few people could cultivate this power to great success. However, the Thunder Clan in Sky Thunder City had the only Thunder Celestial technique in the entire Ziyang continent. It's the Thunder Sovereign. Black Dragon couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the tall and mighty silhouette in the lightning. It was an old man with a tall stature and a head full of white hair. He was like a male lion, giving off a powerful pressure. As for the person fighting against the Thunder Sovereign, it was a young master with a pale face. This young master was incomparably handsome, and his battle prowess was also incomparably strong. This person was Jade-Faced Playboy of the 12 Great Bandits. Actually, not many people knew Jade-Faced Playboy's real name. Even among the 12 Great Bandits, there weren't many who knew his background. Another dragon demon has come. Jade-Faced Playboy sensed the arrival of Black Dragon. He had never seen Black Dragon before. When Gu Fei opened up his inner world to let them out, Black Dragon had yet to return. My master's surname is Gu. Black Dragon didn't want to cause any misunderstanding. Someone sent by my lord. Jade-Faced Playboy couldn't help but be startled. At this time, the Thunder Sovereign punched out. Endless lightning bloomed on his fist, and each bolt of lightning tore through the sky. Old man, there's no harm in pledging allegiance to my lord. Jade-Faced Playboy hurriedly retreated, dodging the other party's attack before saying, I, the Thunder Sovereign, disdain to be someone else's slave, the old man said loudly. His voice was like a huge bell, spreading far and wide. Boom! As the old man said that, he waved his hand, and 10 balls of purple lightning shot out towards Jade-Faced Playboy. A terrifying destructive power spread out from those 10 balls of lightning. Since that's the case, I'll annihilate your Thunder Clan, Jade-Faced Playboy said. After that, a sage aura spread out from his body. The power and aura of a half-step saint erupted from his body. Half-step saint. The Thunder Sovereign was taken aback. As he blinked, lightning shot out from his eyes. At this time, Jade-Faced Playboy stretched out his hand, and actually used a mystic art that was similar to the heaven-encompassing palm. His palm covered the entire sky, grabbing the 10 balls of lightning in his hand. Rumble! The 10 balls of lightning exploded. Within each ball of lightning, there was a series of Tao patterns being destroyed, releasing the strongest power of thunder. However, that gigantic hand was not destroyed by the lightning balls. Seeing this, the Thunder Sovereign could not help but feel his heart pounding. The other party's battle prowess was much stronger than what he had expected. Since when did such a character appear in the Ziyang continent? The battle prowess displayed by Jade-Faced Playboy caused the Thunder Sovereign's heart to palpitate. Thunder Sovereign, I think you better not know what's good for you. You're following Heavenly Emperor Ziyang, and you seem to be his slave as well. What's the difference? At this moment, the Black Dragon spoke. You little loach, are you tired of living? What rights do you have to talk to your daddy here? The Thunder Sovereign's temper was like a raging fire. That pair of white brows of his straightened, wanting to strike out at the Black Dragon. Your opponent is me. Jade-Faced Playboy pressed forward. The entire sky trembled along with his footsteps. Tao patterns were faintly appearing on his body, as though a celestial saint had descended upon the world. Just who are you? Why are you making an enemy out of my Thunder Clan? The Thunder Sovereign roared. He did not want to fight with these people without knowing the reason. It was not worth it at all. We are just passers-by. My lord is looking for something. Once he finds it, we will naturally leave, Jade-Faced Playboy said. Just what are you guys looking for? The Thunder Sovereign knew that things might not have reached an irresolvable state. Now that Heavenly Emperor Ziyang was not here, even though the unique sect was strong, they might not be a match for these people. A teleportation formation platform. A teleportation formation platform that leads to the Tanglong continent. Chapter 23-27. The Thunder Emperor didn't bow down to Jade-Faced Playboy, but things were just as the Thunder Emperor thought. The other party didn't want to push things too far. In the end, the Thunder Emperor humbled himself and invited Jade-Faced Playboy into Sky Thunder City. Black Dragon didn't get an invitation from the Black Emperor, so he could only go back to report. The Thunder Emperor didn't dare to play any tricks. After all, Jade-Faced Playboy still had his lord behind him. A person who could make a half-step sage bow down to him was definitely very powerful and terrifying. However, this Thunder Emperor was cunning. He didn't betray Heavenly Emperor Ziyang, but he didn't submit to this external force either. He told everything he knew. Jade-Faced Playboy learned from the Thunder Emperor that there was no teleportation formation in Sky Thunder City that could teleport to Tinglong Continent. In the eyes of the cultivators of Ziyang Continent, Tinglong Continent was a chaotic place. It wasn't easy to go to that chaotic place. However, even the Thunder Emperor didn't know if there was such a teleportation formation in Ziyang Continent. After all, the distance between Ziyang Continent and Tinglong Continent was too far. After more than 2 hours, Jade-Faced Playboy left Sky Thunder City and went to the next city. At this time, the other members of the 12 Great Bandits weren't so successful. Many times they had to use force to solve some problems. The appearance of the 12 Great Bandits made all the cultivators in Ziyang Continent shocked to the extreme. Some people guessed that this force came from the outside world and wasn't a local force of Ziyang Continent. Ziyang Continent was shaken. Everyone was terrified. The 12 Great Bandits were extremely powerful. They broke through one city after another. However, they were disappointed because they didn't find the teleportation formation. What's going on? Zhuge Liang waved the feather fan in his hand. He came to the outside of a city. Before this, he had broken through no less than 5 cities. However, there was no teleportation formation in these places that could teleport to Tinglong Continent. Even the city lords of these cities didn't know if there was such a teleportation formation in Ziyang Continent. Ask your city lord to come out and talk. Zhuge Liang didn't want to waste time. His voice spread into the city. Everyone heard this voice, and the cultivators in the city were shocked to the extreme. Who is so bold to actually want to see the city lord? In the city, human cultivators whispered. At this moment, an extremely powerful aura was emitted from the city lord's mansion. After that, a person walked out of the city lord's mansion and soared into the sky, flying above the city. It was a masked woman dressed in white. As soon as she appeared, it began to drizzle, and a wave of pure water elemental energy spread out from her body. You are the city lord. Zhuge Liang was very surprised. He did not expect that the city lord of this city was actually a woman. Why do you want to see me? A clear and melodious voice rang out. It seemed that this woman in white was not very old. I can't see you if there's nothing else. Zhuge Liang waved the 5-colored feather fan in his hand and said elegantly. Just who are you? You were the one who took down those 5 cities, weren't you? The white-clothed masked woman said in a low voice. It was clear that she had already received news that someone was taking action, continuously breaking through 5 cities. They were powerful to the extreme. It's me. So what? Zhuge Liang said with a smile. We have a grudge. The woman in white asked tentatively. No. Zhuge Liang was very straightforward. Then why are you here? The woman in white knew that these people would not come without a reason. Since he was here, there must be something that attracted him here. I'm looking for a teleportation formation that can send me to the soaring dragon ancestral star. Zhuge Liang stated his purpose straight away. Looks like you've come to the wrong place. Our water tribe doesn't have a teleportation formation like you mentioned. You should look elsewhere. The white-clothed masked woman said. Can I have a look at the city? Zhuge Liang said. Go ahead. The white-clothed masked woman only said these 2 words. Zhuge Liang did not hold back. He walked into the ancient city and carefully sensed the aura in the city. He walked around the city and came out. There really isn't one this. Zhuge Liang had to accept this reality. Although there was a teleportation formation in the godly water city of the water tribe, it could only be used within the Ziyang continent. It was impossible to send someone to the soaring dragon continent. There was no war. Everyone in the godly water city let out a sigh of relief when Zhuge Liang left. One should know that this ruthless man was extremely powerful, as he had taken down 5 cities. Such a result naturally attracted a lot of attention. Just as the 12 bandits were sweeping across the land, the Iron Blood Taoist met his match. At the foot of the unique sacred mountain, there was a huge city named Unique City. The Iron Blood Taoist went straight to the Unique City, courting death. When the Iron Blood Taoist appeared outside the Unique City, a loud roar came from within the city, echoing between the heavens and the earth. The Iron Blood Taoist's expression changed when he heard this, and he immediately punched out. Boom! The signboard on the solitary city's gate tower was blasted away. Outsider, you are too arrogant. An old voice was heard, and a figure walked out from the unique city. It was a tall and skinny old man with white hair and a white beard. The old man's eyes were shining brightly, as if the stars, the sun, and the moon were descending in them. So what if I am arrogant? What can you do to me? The Iron Blood Taoist looked at the old man walking towards him step by step and said indifferently, swoosh. Without saying anything else, the old man stretched out his hand, and a huge palm the size of a mountain appeared, grabbing towards the Iron Blood Taoist. The Iron Blood Taoist also stretched out his hand and pressed forward. Endless divine fire appeared in his hand, transforming into a fiery divine palm. Tao runes could be vaguely seen in the center of his palm. Boom! With a loud bang, the 2 palms collided, like 2 mountains crashing into each other, shaking the heavens and earth. The aura of the Saint Tao was vast and mighty, and both of them were forced back 5 or 6 steps. Ancient Saint. The Iron Blood Taoist's eyes lit up. He didn't expect there to be an ancient saint in the unique city. It seemed that the number 1 power in the Ziyang continent had a very deep foundation. A saint. The tall and skinny old man was also shocked. He could tell that the other party had just become a saint not long ago. One should know that the aura of an ancient saint was different from those who had just become a saint. Interesting. The old man suddenly laughed. Humph. Chapter 23-28. In the human realm, the power of heaven's wrath was still present. No one dared to remove the seal on their body and unleash their saint-level cultivation because no one could contend against it. Iron Blood Taoist was a little surprised that there was an ancient saint presiding over the solitary city. However, on second thought, solitary city was an important place in the solitary residence, second only to the solitary sacred mountain. It was only natural that there would be an ancient saint presiding over it. Rumble! The lanky old man's aura was still rising. The void around him trembled as a powerful force shook the heaven and earth. 9 primordial Tao runes appeared on his body. Although he couldn't remove the seal and regain his saint-level cultivation, he could still channel the power of the 9 Tao runes. As long as he didn't cross the bottom line, he wouldn't have to worry about the power of heaven's wrath descending upon him. Those were 9 gray Tao runes. The earth elemental energy of the heaven and earth gathered towards the lanky old man. A chaotic world seemed to be evolving around him. Earth element ancient saint. The Iron Blood Taoist couldn't help but be moved. There were many people who cultivated the power of the 5 elements, but those who could cultivate it to grand completion, or even become a saint, were few and far between. Humph, you're not too bad yourself. The fire element saint of the 5 elements walks the path of the ancient fire god. The lanky old man stared at the Iron Blood Taoist and said with a flicker in his eyes. At this moment, 9 flame-like Tao runes appeared on the Iron Blood Taoist's body, drawing upon the fire elemental energy of the heaven and earth. An image of an immortal fire phoenix appeared on his body, emitting a supreme aura. I'm just a passerby. I don't want to fight to the death with you, the Iron Blood Taoist said. Humph, outsider, don't you think it's a little too late for you to say these words? The lanky old man said coldly. The solitary prefecture was the #1 power in the Purple Sun continent. Someone came knocking on their door and even broke the plaque on the city gate tower. This was a slap to the face of the solitary prefecture. If the solitary prefecture didn't stand up for them, they would be laughed at by all the cultivators in the Purple Sun continent. People needed face, trees needed bark. A supreme power's dignity was trampled on, and they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. Since that's the case, let's fight. The iron-blood Taoist's tone turned cold. If they wanted to fight, then so be it. He had nothing to fear. He wanted to make use of this ancient sage to test his skills. My name is Mu Xiu. I'll let you know who killed you, the tall and skinny old man said. He was very confident. The other party was just a saint who had just become a saint not long ago, while he was an ancient saint. With such a gap, no one would be optimistic about the iron-blood Taoist. At this time, all the experts in the unique city rushed out and looked at the two people who were facing each other in the sky. The surroundings were silent, no one spoke, everyone was incomparably nervous. Some people had already received news that powerful outsiders were fighting in various places and had already conquered many cities. This shocked the people of Solitary City to the extreme. For so many years, ever since Heavenly Darch Ziyang conquered the Purple Sun continent with his own power, no one dared to challenge him. As for the unique residence that he established, no one dared to offend him. But now, there was actually an outsider challenging Heavenly Emperor Ziyang's ruling position. This caused countless cultivators in Ziyang's state to be inexplicably shocked. My name is Iron-Blood, Iron-Blood Taoist said. Kill! At this time, the tall and skinny old man Mu Xiu's aura had already climbed to the peak. His power had reached a point where he would not be satisfied if he did not spit it out. With a loud shout, he directly used an immortal divine art. Endless earth elemental power condensed into a giant cauldron, suppressing the iron-blood Taoist. Boom! The void shook. The giant cauldron formed from earth elemental power emitted a powerful force of the Great Path, breaking through the layers of fire chi. It was actually trying to suppress the iron-blood Taoist to death. The earth elemental cauldron sealed the void, stabilized the universe, and blocked all of the iron-blood Taoist's escape routes. The iron-blood Taoist had followed Gu Fei for so long that he had naturally witnessed Gu Fei's battles with other opponents. The battle technique that broke all laws with brute force made him realize something, and he then created a great art. Boom! The iron-blood Taoist moved. Endless fire elemental power gathered towards his right hand. Then, he pointed out with a finger, and a dazzling flame shot out from his index finger. The finger that was condensed with endless fire elemental power directly broke through the gray earth chi and hit the giant cauldron formed from earth elemental essence. Pfft! With a soft sound, the flame actually pierced through the giant cauldron, causing the earth elemental patterns that formed the cauldron to dissipate. The giant cauldron also dissipated in the void, once again turning into a ball of fire elemental essence. What? Elder Mu Xiu could not help but be shocked when he saw this scene. Only a fierce dragon would cross the river. Since this fellow dared to attack him, it seemed that he was not simple. Swoosh! The iron-blood Taoist pointed out with another finger, and the flame suddenly appeared, piercing towards Elder Mu Xiu opposite him. Its speed was extremely fast, and in an instant, it shot in front of Elder Mu Xiu. This? Elder Mu Xiu was shocked. He did not hesitate, and immediately used a great art. His body suddenly blurred, and he left an afterimage where he was standing. His real body, however, shot up into the sky, appearing above the iron-blood Taoist's head. The iron-blood Taoist's finger light only pierced through Elder Mu Xiu's afterimage. Go to hell! Elder Mu Xiu shouted loudly. He actually turned his body into a cauldron. 9 earth elemental Tao patterns intertwined, and a giant cauldron the size of a mountain appeared in the sky. With 3 legs and 2 ears, he manifested the great Tao of heaven and earth. Elder Mu Xiu had raised his combat power to a level that even a great perfection quasi-sage would feel fearful. In the eyes of the ancient people, cauldrons were the carrier of the great Tao, and the embodiment of the great Tao. This elder Mu Xiu had cultivated such a great art, and it truly shocked the iron-blood Taoist. Interesting. At this moment, thousands of miles away, the eyes of Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on a mountain peak, lit up when he saw this scene. The iron-blood Taoist was probably going to be unlucky. These ancient sages were not ordinary people. To the iron-blood Taoist, he was still too inexperienced when facing such an opponent. Rumble! The ancient cauldron pressed down, as though it was splitting the heavens and earth. The might it displayed caused the iron-blood Taoist's expression to change. This time, the iron-blood Taoist's finger force could no longer pierce through the cauldron. Without any suspense, the iron-blood Taoist was directly pressed down from the sky by Elder Mu Xiu. This is preposterous! Even though the iron-blood Taoist tried his best to retaliate, the cauldron above his head could not budge at all. This caused him to be both shocked and furious. Initially, he did not want to use his sage artifact. However, from the looks of it, if he did not use his sage artifact, he would probably be finished off by the other party. Boom! The instant the iron-blood Taoist was pressed down from the sky by the cauldron, a peerlessly powerful force exploded from his body. Chapter 23-29. The iron-blood Taoist used the Phoenix Tribulation. A fire phoenix soared into the sky from his body, knocking away the gigantic cauldron that was descending from the sky. Roar! The iron-blood Taoist let out a furious roar. The entire heaven and earth shook along with his roar. Transparent ripples spread out from his body. Saint weapon! The gigantic cauldron that was knocked high up in the sky dissipated. Elder Mu Xiu's figure appeared once again. He had fallen out of that state of Tao. The human realm did not allow the existence of saint-level powers. However, Elder Mu Xiu was able to manifest the state of Tao and display a battle prowess that surpassed great perfection quasi-saints. For ancient sages and sages, even if they had sealed their own saint-level cultivation, it would still be effortless for them to kill great perfection quasi-saints. This was the strength and terror of ancient sages and sages. I didn't expect you to have a saint weapon. It seems like this saint weapon isn't something that you refined yourself. Elder Mu Xiu stared at the Phoenix Tribulation in the iron-blood Taoist's hand. Tao runes intertwined in his eyes. With his experience, he could naturally tell the subtle relationship between the Phoenix Tribulation and the iron-blood Taoist. Humph! The iron-blood Taoist snorted coldly. He did not say anything, but the battle intent on his body grew even stronger. His eyes were as bright as the stars. Today, I'll show you the difference between a saint weapon refined by yourself and a saint weapon refined by others. Elder Mu Xiu extended his right hand and a stone tablet appeared in his hand. It was a stone tablet the size of a palm. It was covered with Tao runes that looked like they were made by the heavens. A powerful wave of earth elemental energy emanated from the stone tablet. Shameless boasting. The iron-blood Taoist looked at Elder Mu Xiu and said coldly. His face revealed a look of disdain. However, he was secretly shocked. He naturally knew that the Phoenix Tribulation was not a saint weapon refined by himself. It would be hard for him to unleash the full power of this saint weapon. Ha ha, young man, if you show off too much, you will only bring about your own destruction. You will know soon enough whether I'm boasting or not. As Elder Mu Xiu spoke, he activated the stone tablet in his hand. Rumble! A shocking force spread out from the stone tablet. In an instant, the might of the stone tablet was displayed. It became incomparably huge and pressed down on the iron-blood Taoist. One tablet suppressing the universe. Old man Mu Xiu shouted loudly. As the stone tablet pressed down, the dense Tao patterns on its surface all lit up, triggering the power of the thick earth. The iron-blood Taoist felt as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on him at the same time. The mighty power from the stone tablet made him almost unable to straighten his back. If it weren't for the protection of the Phoenix Tribulation's power, he would have been crushed to death by the stone tablet in Elder Mu Xiu's hand. Fire Phoenix spreads its wings. The iron-blood Taoist didn't dare to be careless and immediately used his strongest technique. He activated the 9 Fire Phoenix Tao patterns on the Phoenix Tribulation. The 9 Fire Phoenix Tao patterns rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation and intertwined, turning into a fire phoenix that soared into the sky. Boom! The fire phoenix that was formed from the 9 Fire Phoenix Tao markings emitted monstrous divine flames that burned the heavens and boiled the seas. It was terrifying to the extreme, and it actually displayed a strand of the fire phoenix's divine might. The fire phoenix that soared into the sky collided with the stone tablet that was pressing down. The two extremely powerful forces directly annihilated the void between heaven and earth. When the two forces collided, it turned into a destructive storm that swept out in all directions. All the cultivators in the unique city turned pale with fright. If they were to be affected by this destructive storm, the entire unique city would be destroyed in an instant and turned into a flat land. Just as the destructive force swept out, countless Tao patterns rushed out from the walls of the unique city. A light barrier appeared in the void, enveloping the entire unique city. The destructive storm was blocked by the light barrier, and it didn't affect the unique city at all. This made all the cultivators in the unique city heave a sigh of relief. City Barrier Array. On the peak of a mountain 1,000 miles away, Gu Fei saw the changes in the unique city. He wasn't surprised. One should know that the unique city was an important place in the unique residence. At this time, the stone tablet continued to press down. The fire phoenix that was formed from the Phoenix Tribulation couldn't resist the stone tablet at all. The fire phoenix that was formed from the 9 Tao patterns collapsed. Bang! The stone tablet pressed down and directly pressed the Iron Blood Taoist down from the sky. Roar! The Iron Blood Taoist roared in anger. He desperately urged the Phoenix Tribulation, but the stone tablet that was suppressing the Phoenix Tribulation seemed to have grown roots and didn't move at all. He had a feeling of powerlessness. At this moment, he finally realized that a saint tool that wasn't forged by himself couldn't exert its full power. The Iron Blood Taoist is indeed not a match for this ancient saint. Gu Fei stood up from the mountain peak. Master, are you going to take action personally? Black Dragon had already returned to Gu Fei's side. He couldn't help but ask when he saw Gu Fei standing up. The Iron Blood Taoist might be a saint, but he's still not enough to face an ancient saint. There's still a gap between him and an ancient saint. The gap between the Iron Blood Taoist and the ancient saint wasn't something that could be closed in a short period of time. It needed time to train and accumulate. It wasn't that the Iron Blood Taoist wasn't strong enough, but the opponent's experience, control of power, and understanding of the Iron Blood Taoist in this state were all beyond the Iron Blood Taoist's imagination. Sometimes, living longer was also an advantage. As he spoke, Gu Fei took a step forward. In the next moment, he traversed thousands of miles in the void and appeared in the sky in front of Soul City. He then pushed forward with one hand. Bang! The stone tablet that was suppressing the Phoenix Tribulation was immediately sent flying. Who are you? Elder Mu Xiu was extremely shocked. The stone tablet was sent flying, and he was also affected. He flew thousands of meters away before he could neutralize the powerful force from the stone tablet. To be able to send a saint artifact flying with just a casual palm strike, even Elder Mu Xiu felt his heart palpitating in fear. One must know that he was an ancient sage, and the stone tablet was a saint artifact that he had forged personally. Could this person be the legendary human sovereign? Elder Mu Xiu looked at the sudden appearance of Gu Fei and raised his guard. Master. At this moment, the Iron Blood Taoist had already put away the Phoenix Tribulation and arrived in front of Gu Fei. Elder Mu Xiu was shocked to see the Iron Blood Taoist address this young man as master. This person must be extremely powerful to be able to make a saint bow down to him. Gu Fei merely nodded his head before looking at old man Mu Xiu. Chapter 2330. Who the hell are you? Old man Mu Xiu was shocked to the extreme. This young man who had appeared out of nowhere had actually sent him flying thousands of feet away with a single move. He found it hard to believe. After all, he was an ancient saint, and he had become a saint since the ancient times. Even if he couldn't undo the seal in the mortal world and recover his cultivation, he was still not someone that ordinary saints who had sealed themselves could compare to. The other party had sent him flying with a single palm strike. This sort of combat strength was way too horrifying. Even the heavenly Emperor Ziyang would not be able to send him flying with a single move. Patterns of the Tao intertwined in Mu Xiu's eyes. He felt immense pressure from this young man. This was something that had never happened since the untainted world was shattered. The 3 continents overseas were different from the Tanglong continent. There were many powerful existences in the 3 continents, just like the Purple Sun continent. He was the master of the Purple Sun continent, and had ruled the Purple Sun continent for countless years. As for the other 3 great continents, there were also ancient sages living in seclusion there. They did not show up in the world. The people of the Tanglong continent did not know of their existence at all. Just like the Purple Sun, heaven and earth, no one in the Tanglong continent knew of the existence of this heavenly emperor. There is no need for you to know who I am. I only wish to know if there is a teleportation formation on this unique divine mountain that leads to the Tanglong continent. What? You are from the Tanglong continent? Elder Mu Xiu was extremely shocked when he heard this. One should know that the Tanglong continent was extremely far from the Ziyang continent. Furthermore, in the vast and boundless fallen God Sea, even a saint would find it difficult to determine the correct direction. Not many cultivators below the sage level dared to enter the fallen God Sea. This was because there were all sorts of unknown dangers in the fallen God Sea, so not many people were willing to take the risk. Since you know about the Tanglong continent, then it will be easy. Gu Fei smiled at Elder Mu Xiu. The Tanglong continent is a place where saints are buried. How could I not know about it? After Elder Mu Xiu said those words, he seemed to have thought of something and his expression turned ugly. The land of saints. Gu Fei didn't think much of it, but the iron-blood Taoist and the black dragon were shocked. The land of saint burial, they couldn't help but be moved. You will probably be disappointed. My Purple Sun continent does not have such an ancient transportation formation, Elder Mu Xiu said. If you say no, then no, the black dragon said. Humph, you little loach, you don't have the qualifications to speak to me here, Old Man Mu Xiu said disdainfully as he glanced at the black dragon. In his opinion, he could kill a mere demon emperor countless times with a single hand. The weak had no right to speak in a conversation between the strong. I believe that you have no reason to lie to me. Let's go. Gu Fei took a deep look at Old Man Mu Xiu before turning around and leaving. The iron-blood Taoist and black dragon hurriedly followed. Lord, there's no need for us to head up to the unique God Mountain to take a look. We can't trust the words of that old man, Iron-blood Taoist said. Master, I think we should climb up that unique God Mountain to take a look. Seeing is believing, Black Dragon said. What's the hurry? I'm not even in a hurry, but you guys are, Gu Fei said indifferently. Very soon, he arrived at the mountain peak where he was previously, and sat down on a boulder at the peak of the mountain. The Iron-blood Taoist and Black Dragon had no choice but to follow Gu Fei back to the mountain peak. At this time, Zhuge Liang was leading the 12 great bandits on a campaign in all directions. Very soon, someone from the 12 great bandits returned with a piece of news. It turned out that the Ziyang continent was the resting place of a golden crow in ancient times. During that time, the Ziyang continent was the world of the demon race. However, as the untainted land was destroyed, the golden crow that rested in the Ziyang continent disappeared. Instead, the Ziyang emperor became the master of the Ziyang continent. As the 12 great bandits returned, the information they brought back became more detailed. Zhuge Liang even learned from the city lord of an ancient city that there was a palace left behind by the golden crow on the unique God Mountain. A palace left behind by an ancient golden crow was no ordinary place. A palace built by an expert of the demon race must have a transportation formation that led to various places in the world. One should know that the untainted land of the ancient era was incomparably vast. It was so vast that there was no end to it. Even if a great sage of the demon race wanted to go somewhere, it would not be easy. At night, the 12 great bandits all returned to the mountain peak where Gu Fei was located. Interesting, the palace of an ancient golden crow. I must go and see for myself. Gu Fei stood up from the boulder. It seemed that old man Mu Xiu was not telling the truth. Sometimes, these ancient sages would also say things that went against their conscience. At this time, the cultivators of the entire Ziyang continent knew that there were foreign experts fighting everywhere. Many cities had been breached by these people. This was a huge storm that swept the entire cultivation world of the Ziyang continent. Everyone was anxious, worried that these people would come to their door at any time. Some people even questioned why no one from the unique residence came to their rescue after such a thing happened. But soon the news spread. Chapter 2331. The unique sacred mountain of the Purple Sun continent was actually the resting place of the ancient Golden Crow. This made Gu Fei very surprised. It seemed that the ancient legends were not all groundless. In ancient times, a divine sun fell on the Purple Sun continent, giving this continent its name. It seemed that at that time, it was not the divine sun that fell, but the golden crow that returned to its nest. It was like a divine sun falling from the sky into the depths of this continent. The 12 bandits fought everywhere and brought back a lot of valuable information, especially the information about the palace of the ancient Golden Crow. This moved Gu Fei even more. The ancient Golden Crow was a great saint of the demon race. It was incomparably powerful and was an overlord of a region. The palace left behind by such an existence was naturally extraordinary. Old man Mushio, if you want to fight, I can accompany you. There is no need to bully the weak. The Iron Blood Taoist walked forward. He was the one who had saved the Black Dragon at the critical moment. Otherwise, the Black Dragon's Naiwan palace would have been pierced by the divine light shot out from Elder Mushio's eyes, and he would have lost his life. Humph, I said there is nothing you want on the unique sacred mountain. Old man Mushio snorted coldly. Is that so? Then why don't you let us go up and take a look? The Iron Blood Taoist held the Phoenix Tribulation in his hand. His whole body was surrounded by flames, and the shadow of a fire phoenix could be faintly seen on his body. A powerful aura spread out from his body. He stared at old man Mushio, ready to attack at any time. There is nothing on the sacred mountain. There is nothing to see. You should leave quickly. Otherwise, when the Celestial Emperor returns, you will not be able to leave. Old man Mushio said. Oh, Celestial Emperor Ziyang is coming back? Gu Fei couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. The divine abilities of the Celestial Emperor are not something you can imagine. If you want to live, quickly leave the Purple Sun continent. Old man Mushio continued. Yes. Gu Fei pondered for a moment, then said, That Celestial Emperor Ziyang, could it be that he is stronger than those demon ancestors? I want to meet this guy. What? When old man Mu Xiu heard Gu Fei's words, he couldn't help being shocked to the extreme. Was this young man crazy? He actually wanted to challenge the Heaven Emperor? In the eyes of all the cultivators in Ziyang continent, Celestial Emperor Ziyang was a supreme existence. It wasn't that no one had challenged Celestial Emperor Ziyang, but even today, he was still the ruler of Ziyang continent. Tell me, when is that Purple Sun Heaven and Earth coming back? Gu Fei looked at Mu Xiu and said calmly. To be able to make an ancient saint bow his head and be willing to be ordered around, this heavenly Emperor Ziyang might really be a character. This made Gu Fei a little curious about this heavenly emperor. 3 days, maybe 10 days, a month at the latest. Old man Mu Xiu said suspiciously. He did not know if these people were bluffing or if they really had the strength to challenge Sky Emperor. However, during the day, the shock that Gu Fei gave old man Mu Xiu made him a little uneasy. Perhaps the Sky Emperor had met his match. Very well, then I will wait for him for half a month. After saying that, Gu Fei turned around and left with the crowd. Old man Mu Xiu stood outside Solitary City for a long time before he came back to his senses. He was very surprised that the other party had left just like that. Great Elder, why don't we lure these people into the city and then activate the formation to catch them all in one go? At this moment, A ferocious general in black armor arrived behind old man Mushio and said these words. Mushio was the great elder of solitary residence, second only to one and above tens of thousands. Apart from Celestial Emperor Ziyang, he was the supreme figure in solitary residence. However, although he was under Celestial Emperor Ziyang, Mushio never had the thought of rebelling because he knew very well that if Celestial Emperor Ziyang wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. He was also a little expectant because he wanted to know if these outsiders could really defeat Celestial Emperor Ziyang. This might be his only chance. Old man Mushio finally returned to Solitary City. He did not lie. Celestial Emperor Ziyang had already left Ziyang continent and entered the depths of the God-Down Sea. No one knew why Celestial Emperor Ziyang took the risk to enter the depths of the God-Down Sea. No one dared to ask, not even old man Mushio. No one dared to defy Celestial Emperor Ziyang's decision. No one dared to ask about things that Celestial Emperor Ziyang didn't want to say. Celestial Emperor Ziyang was the supreme god of Ziyang continent, and all living beings had to obey him. Celestial Emperor Ziyang, who had left for half a year, suddenly sent back a message a few days ago saying that he would return very soon. This was where Mu Xiu's confidence came from. Celestial Emperor Ziyang was really going to return. My lord, we should have killed our way to Solitary Sacred Mountain just now, Iron Blood Taoist said. At this time, they had already returned to the mountain. I can wait for 10 days to half a month. We'll talk about it when the time comes, Gu Fei said. It was hard to find a real opponent. Celestial Emperor Ziyang might be a good opponent, but if this so-called Celestial Emperor was someone who deceived the world, then he would be out of luck. Yes. Everyone nodded. They were very clear that their lord was really interested in this so-called Celestial Emperor Ziyang. Not long after, the 12 bandits went down the mountain again. This time, they brought Black Dragon with them because Black Dragon was very familiar with the entire Ziyang continent, and was a good guide. Gu Fei didn't go down the mountain. He was cultivating on the mountain, cultivating his state of mind. With the cultivation of a Saint King, his cultivation was rising too fast. It was hard for his state of mind to keep up with his cultivation. This would be a big problem. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye, but there was no movement on Solitary Sacred Mountain. Obviously, Celestial Emperor Ziyang hadn't returned yet. At this time, the entire Ziyang continent was shrouded in a layer of gloomy fog. Under the leadership of Black Dragon, the 12 bandits looted all the treasuries of the cultivation forces in Ziyang continent. Solitary Manor's attitude towards the 12 bandits was disappointing. No one from Solitary Manor appeared, which made the 12 bandits even more unscrupulous. In Solitary City, Elder Mu Xiu's complexion was frighteningly gloomy when he received the news. These outsiders had gone too far, causing chaos in the entire Ziyang continent. However, Celestial Emperor Ziyang hadn't returned yet. Mu Xiu and the others could only worry helplessly. Only Celestial Emperor Ziyang's return could calm this chaotic situation. Half a month passed. The 12 bandits had a bountiful harvest in Ziyang continent. Although this place couldn't compare to the Tenglong continent, there were still good things. Zhuge Liang found a finger-sized piece of star iron in the treasury of a city lord. This was an immortal material, a divine material exclusive to extreme-grade supremes. Jade-faced Playboy found a dragon pearl. It wasn't a flood dragon pearl, but a real dragon pearl. After a real dragon died, the dragon pearl would shatter. Therefore, dragon pearls were very rare. Although these things were rare, Gu Fei didn't care about them. Chapter 2332. Gu Fei quietly stared at the ancient city before him. This time, he would no longer hesitate. He was going to fight his way up to the unique sacred mountain. Rumble! When Gu Fei's group appeared in front of the unique city, the heavy city gate opened from the inside and Elder Mu Xiu walked out. Half a month is up. Where is your heavenly sovereign Ziyang? Black Dragon asked Elder Mu Xiu. You're not qualified to speak to me, Old Man Mu Xiu said coldly. A trace of panic flashed across his eyes. He naturally knew that these people would not retreat so easily if they came again. Mu Xiu, do I have the qualifications to speak to you? The Iron-Blood Taoist walked forward and stared at Elder Mu Xiu. He gripped the Phoenix Tribulation tightly in his hand as his body emitted a powerful battle intent. Of course Taoist Iron-Blood is qualified to speak to me. Mu Xiu glanced at Black Dragon and said indifferently. He was an ancient saint, so he didn't put a dragon sovereign in his eyes. Sovereign existences were like ants before him. Then I won't waste any more time. My lord is going to ascend the unique sacred mountain now. You only have two choices. Fight or surrender. Make your choice. The Iron-Blood Taoist didn't waste any more time and went straight to the point. What? Elder Mu Xiu couldn't help but be shocked. Although he had thought of many ways to deal with these people, he didn't expect them to be so domineering right from the start. Shouldn't you wait a few more days? The Heavenly Sovereign should be back in a few days, Elder Mu Xiu said, trying to buy time. Looks like you guys are going to fight, the Iron-Blood Taoist coldly said. Flames flickered in his eyes as a powerful fire elemental energy rippled from his body. Lord, since these people don't know what's good for them, we'll just have to destroy them. Zhuge Liang waved his five-colored feather fan and said to Gu Fei. Even the Middle Continent Immortal Mansion on Buzhou Ancestral Star was destroyed by us. Do you think this unique manor is stronger than the Middle Continent Immortal Mansion? A bandit said disapprovingly. Mu Xiu's expression changed. The Ancestral Star of Buzhou was one of the 5 ancestral grounds of the mortal world, and as an ancient saint, he naturally knew about it. Then that's the only way. Gu Fei nodded. Then, he extended his right hand and drew a line in the air in front of him. A spatial passage immediately appeared in the air. Groups of soldiers walked out from the spatial tunnel, and a shocking killing aura appeared in the air. This killing aura caused the sky and earth to change color. These were Gu Fei's battle troops. Even though there were only 5,000 of them, each and every one of them was clad in battle armor and wielded a bronze spear. They all emanated an incomparably powerful aura. This is... When old man Mu Xiu saw this scene, his heart trembled. His opponent had actually formed an inner world, and had even trained an incomparably powerful combat troop. Even Black Dragon was shocked to the extreme. The master that he had acknowledged was too heaven-defying. He had actually formed an inner world and possessed a terrifying combat troop. Every single one of these 5,000 soldiers had the cultivation base and combat strength of an immortal emperor. This was the result of tempering their bodies with the essence of the divine spring of life day and night. Gu Fei didn't lack anything. It wasn't difficult for him to forge a powerful combat troop, especially when it came to tempering their bodies day and night. The combat body of a combat troop was so strong that it could go head-on against a true emperor divine weapon. If these 5,000 soldiers were to form a battle formation, their combat strength would multiply, and they could even break through the shackles of an emperor divine weapon and challenge almighty experts. Even the unique manor would find it hard to cultivate such a troop of combat troops. I'll ask you one more time. Are you going to fight or surrender? Great Sage Iron-Blood Taoist said. His voice traveled far into the unique city. What's going on? In the unique city, every cultivator who heard the voice was shocked to the extreme. Fellow Taoist Iron-Blood, there's really no room for negotiation. Old man Mu Xiu refused to give up. Starting a war now would be very disadvantageous to them. One should know that in the past half a month, the enemy had already conquered almost all the cities in the Violet Sun continent. Those people had been beaten so badly that they absolutely wouldn't dare to come and help Unique Manor. Iron-Blood Taoist shook his head and didn't speak anymore. Kill! Just as Mu Xiu was hesitating, Iron-Blood Taoist let out a roar and turned into a fiery shadow, lunging at Mu Xiu with extreme speed. Outrageous! You guys have gone too far! Old man Mu Xiu was anxious. He didn't want to fight these people, but they were already charging at him. There was no time for him to make a choice. Boom! Earth elemental energy erupted. Old man Mu Xiu had no choice but to face it head-on. Boundless earth elemental energy condensed into a huge cauldron, slamming towards Iron Blood Taoist. 1. Iron Blood Taoist raised his right hand and pressed the Phoenix Tribulation forward. The void trembled. The 9 divine Phoenix Tao marks on the Phoenix Tribulation emitted a dazzling divine light in an instant. A fiery phoenix rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The fiery phoenix that rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation collided with Old Man Mu Xiu's huge cauldron. The fiery phoenix immediately collapsed, and the huge cauldron also dissipated in the void. Old Man Mu Xiu was sent flying by the mighty force. Iron Blood Taoist, on the other hand, was as unmoving as a mountain. He didn't even take a single step back. This was the difference between using a saint artifact and not. Even though Mu Xiu was an ancient saint, he was still forced back by the Iron Blood Taoist who wielded the Phoenix Tribulation. Old Man Mu Xiu flipped his right hand, and a stone tablet appeared in his hand. The stone tablet emitted a powerful wave that could suppress the void. Just as the Iron Blood Taoist and Old Man Mu Xiu started fighting, groups of soldiers rushed out of Unique City. Each of them was holding a spear in their hands. These soldiers were trained by the Unique Manner, and they were led by the 3 great generals. They charged toward Gu Fei and the others. Zhuge Liang, I order you to lead 5,000 soldiers and fight. Gu Fei ordered Zhuge Liang. Yes, Lord. Zhuge Liang hurriedly accepted the order and charged forward with 5,000 soldiers, intercepting the soldiers who were rushing out of the Unique City. There were more than 1,000 soldiers rushing out of Unique City. Each of them was at the Emperor level, or close to it in terms of cultivation and strength. Especially the 3 generals leading them. 2 of them were supreme experts, and 1 was a half-saint. Formation! Zhuge Liang let out a loud shout, and the 5,000 warriors behind him immediately moved at high speed. A heaven-shaking killing intent erupted from the 5,000 warriors. Formation! The 3 generals gave the order as well. The 1,000 soldiers moved quickly, and a similar killing intent emanated from them. A battle formation appeared in the sky. Gu Fei wanted to train the soldiers in his hands. Kill! Zhuge Liang waved his right hand, and the 5,000 soldiers behind him immediately rushed forward. The power of the battle formation erupted in an instant, shaking the heavens and earth. Fight! The 5,000 soldiers roared at the same time, like a magnificent army with thousands of horses and horses. All of them stabbed forward with their bronze spears. The power of the 5,000 soldiers gathered together and turned into a terrifying torrent that crashed into the soldiers of the Unique Abode on the other side. Fight! The battle soldiers of the Unique Residence roared and stabbed out with their spears. The power of over 1,000 battle soldiers gathered together through the battle formation and turned into a destructive force that shot forward. Rumble! When the 2 forces collided, the void trembled and the ground sank. Even Residence of the Soul Lord was affected by the shockwaves. Very soon, the soldiers of Unique Prefecture were forced to retreat. Blood could be seen at the corner of each soldier's mouth. They suffered a great impact. Even the 2 supreme experts and the half-saint were no exception. All of them coughed up blood. How is this possible? The leader of the half-saint army was extremely shocked. The leader of the enemy did not attack, but even so, they couldn't hold on any longer. Chapter 2333. Gu Fei finally made his move. He used the heaven-shrouding palm, and the chaotic palm covered the entire sky, covering the entire Unique City. Rumble! Chaotic chi surged, and on the palm of the chaotic palm, there were 9 chaotic Tao patterns faintly visible, exuding a terrifying power of the great path that could destroy the world. What's going on? Even the Great Elder can't drive away those outsiders? In the Unique City, countless disciples of the Unique Residence looked up at the scene in the sky. Everyone's mind went blank. Even with the protection of the City Barrier Grand Array, they were still shocked to the extreme. It was too powerful. It was as if the sky and earth were being split apart. The City Barrier Grand Array shook, and countless Tao patterns appeared on the light shield. The power of the array was fully activated. An ancient sacred array. Gu Fei's eyes lit up when he saw this. This was an ancient array laid down by the ancient sages, and it had existed for countless years. At this time, the power of the array was awakened, as if an ancient sage had awakened from a deep slumber. At this moment, the billions of living beings in the Purple Sun continent felt the aura of the Great Path, and all of them were terrified. Those outsiders are actually attacking the unique God Mountain? The city lords of the 18 cities in the Purple Sun continent were all stunned. These outsiders were too powerful. The unique sacred mountain was different from the cities in the Purple Sun continent. According to legend, the unique sacred mountain had a palace left behind by the ancient Golden Crow, and it was the resting place of the ancient Golden Crow. More importantly, the Purple Sun continent had been operating on the unique sacred mountain for countless years, laying down an unparalleled killing array. Even if a great sage came in person, he or she would not be able to ascend the unique sacred mountain. If those outsiders can even attack the unique sacred mountain, then the Purple Sun continent will have a new master. A cultivator of the older generation sighed. For countless years, the unique residents had never encountered such a crisis. Even when forces from other continents came to invade, no one had ever been able to kill their way to the unique sacred mountain. Rumble! At this time, Gu Fei's chaotic palm had already landed, colliding with the light shield formed by the power of the city barrier grand array. That layer of light screen shook violently. Countless patterns of Tao interweaved on the light screen and then vanished. The chaos hand wasn't stopped and continued to descend. What? Elder Mu Xiu, who was fighting with the Iron Blood Taoist, couldn't help but feel shocked when he saw this. While Mu Xiu was distracted, the Iron Blood Taoist's right hand had already grabbed onto Mu Xiu's left shoulder. His fingers pierced into Mu Xiu's flesh and tore off a piece of flesh. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? You're courting death! Iron Blood Taoist shouted. Humph! Elder Mu Xiu did not say anything. He directly activated the stone steel in his hand. Countless runes rushed out from the stone steel, forming a peerlessly powerful force that forced the Iron Blood Taoist back. Then Elder Mu Xiu turned around and transformed into a ray of grayish light. He carried the stone tablet and rushed into the unique city. Preposterous! Seeing that Elder Mu Xiu had actually escaped, the Iron Blood Taoist could not help but be shocked and furious. He wanted to give chase. But at that moment, Gu Fei stopped the Iron Blood Taoist. The protective array of the ancient city ahead had already been activated. If the Iron Blood Taoist were to rush forward, he would probably be injured by the power of the array. The protective array was a killing formation laid out by ancient sages. At this time, the 5,000 soldiers under Zhu Guliang's command had routed the 1,000 soldiers of the unique city. Even the half-sage expert was killed by the bronze spear of the soldiers. The strength of the 5,000 soldiers was just too powerful. They could kill almighty experts and half-sages. They were invincible. Too heaven-defying! They can actually kill a half-sage expert. The combat strength displayed by the 5,000 soldiers left Zhu Guliang dumbfounded. One should know that each of the 5,000 soldiers only had the cultivation base and combat strength of an immortal emperor. No one would believe that a group of 5,000 immortal emperors could actually kill a half-sage expert. One should know that the realm above the immortal emperor was the almighty expert, and above that was the half-sage expert. In other words, there were two major realms between the immortal emperor and the half-sage expert. This was no longer heaven-defying in the ordinary sense. However, Zhu Guliang was also very clear that the reason why the 5,000 soldiers could kill a half-sage expert was because of the battle formation formed by the 5,000 soldiers. At this time, the soldiers had arrived at the city, and a giant chaotic palm was pressing down from the sky. The cultivators in the entire unique city felt that a great calamity was about to befall them. Stop! Old man Mu Xiu's roar reverberated throughout unique city. At this time, the giant chaotic hand in the sky had already broken through the city's protective array, and the light barrier turned into specks of light that dissipated into the void. The entire ancient city shook. Cracks appeared on the city walls, as though the entire city was about to collapse. It was a heart-wrenching sight. Too late. Gu Fei spoke indifferently. The chaotic palm was still pressing down. If it really did that, the entire unique city would vanish from this world in an instant. His strength hadn't exceeded the limit of the mortal world, but he was still able to break the killing formation laid out by the ancient sages. Such combat strength had shocked everyone to the extreme. We surrender. We are willing to surrender. Stop it now! Old man Mu Xiu was on the verge of tears. At this time, the entire ancient city was filled with cracks. Some of the buildings began to collapse, especially the countless disciples of Unique Prefecture. They were knocked unconscious by the powerful pressure that descended from the sky. Only the more powerful cultivators were able to fight against the mighty pressure descending from the sky with all their might. I'm willing to surrender. Gu Fei's voice resounded throughout the unique city. I'm willing to surrender. I'm willing to surrender. Old man Mu Xiu hurriedly said. Not surrendering meant death. He didn't want to see countless disciples of Unique Prefecture being buried together with him. The chaos hand that was slapping down from the sky finally stopped. Everyone in Unique City breathed a sigh of relief, feeling as if they had just escaped from death. The chaotic palm retracted. In the next moment, Gu Fei appeared in the Unique City. He stood in front of Mu Xiu and looked at him indifferently. The great elder of Unique Prefecture, Mu Xiu, is willing to surrender, Mu Xiu said and knelt down in front of Gu Fei. He had no choice but to surrender. One must know that there were countless disciples of Unique Prefecture in the entire Unique City. If the Unique City was destroyed, even if he could survive, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang would not spare him. Very good. A wise man submits to circumstances. You are a man who knows how to adapt to circumstances. Gu Fei looked at Mu Xiu, who was kneeling on the ground, and said, My name is Gu Fei. Remember my name. I will be your master from now on. Gu Fei said and no longer paid attention to Mu Xiu. At this time, Iron Blood Taoist and the others had also entered the Unique City. Unique Sacred Mountain. Chapter 2334. After subduing an ancient saint, Gu Fei was in a good mood. He didn't place any seals on Mu Xiu because he wasn't afraid that Mu Xiu would betray him. In the face of absolute power, who would dare to betray him? Under Mu Xiu's lead, Gu Fei entered the Unique City's City Lord Mansion and officially became the Lord of Unique City. What? Did I hear it wrong? Those outsiders actually took down Unique City? The news spread and the entire Purple Sun continent was in an uproar. It seemed like Unique residence was done for. This shocked all the cultivators to the extreme. How is this possible? Some people found it hard to believe that these outsiders were actually this powerful. This was something that no one had expected. Could it be that the Purple Sun continent was really going to have a new owner? Where is Heavenly Emperor Ziyang? Some people knew that Heavenly Emperor Ziyang had left the Purple Sun continent. However, when Unique residence was on the brink of life and death, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang actually didn't return. If those outsiders are allowed to ascend the Unique Sacred Mountain, then even if Heavenly Emperor Ziyang returns, he won't be able to change anything. Some of the older generations seemed to know something. The city lords of the 18 cities of the Purple Sun continent were observing. Although they had submitted to Unique residence, the situation was different now. They didn't go to help Unique residence. These people were extremely shrewd. At this time, in the Unique City Lord Mansion, Gu Fei directly asked Mu Xiu to tell him everything that happened on Unique Sacred Mountain. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Mu Xiu had no choice but to tell. He knew that lying in front of an existence like Gu Fei was useless. So there really is a palace left behind by an ancient golden crow on Unique Sacred Mountain. Everyone was shocked after listening to Mu Xiu's words. One should know that the ancient golden crow was an unparalleled expert of the demon race. The palace built by such an existence was naturally extraordinary. There might even be other things left behind by the ancient golden crow in the palace. The golden crow was an overlord in ancient times. If they could obtain the inheritance of the golden crow, then their trip here wouldn't be in vain. Up the mountain. Without hesitation, Gu Fei let old man Mu Xiu lead the way. They left the city lord's mansion, exited Unique City, and headed for the mountain ahead. Master, isn't this a little too risky? The Iron Blood Taoist said in a worried tone. It was not a good thing to rashly ascend the sole sovereign sacred mountain. No one knew if this Mu Xiu would betray them or not. How can you catch tiger cubs without going into the tiger's den? Gu Fei glanced at the Iron Blood Taoist and said. Hearing this, the Iron Blood Taoist stopped talking. The solitary city was about a dozen miles away from the solitary sacred mountain, a distance that Gu Fei and the rest could cover in an instant. Soon, Gu Fei and the others arrived at the foot of Unique Sacred Mountain. Along the way, Mu Xiu didn't dare to play any tricks. However, when he arrived at the foot of the Unique Sacred Mountain, his face turned solemn. Why did you stop? The black dragon jumped out again. Old man Mu Xiu ignored the black dragon. His hands rapidly formed seals before him. Soon, a door appeared in the sky. Please! Elder Mu Xiu made an inviting gesture towards Gu Fei, then directly walked into the door. This formation isn't too bad. Gu Fei did not move. Instead, he carefully observed his surroundings. He could tell that this sacred mountain was not as simple as he had imagined. Swoosh! At that moment, the door in front of Gu Fei and the others suddenly disappeared. *T. Everyone was shocked. This old man Mu Xiu had really betrayed them and entered the Unique Sacred Mountain, breaking free from Gu Fei's control. Since you've already submitted, why did you betray us? Gu Fei said indifferently. Just as Mu Xiu heaved a sigh of relief, Gu Fei's voice rang in his ears. He was so shocked that he almost jumped up from the ground. To think that I've still underestimated this person. To think that his voice could penetrate the Unique Sacred Mountain's defensive formation and reach here. Mu Xiu's expression changed. Come out now, and I'll pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Gu Fei's voice was still as calm as ever. However, when Gu Fei's words entered Elder Mu Xiu's ears, he was extremely shocked. No one knew what this young man was trying to do. Very well, I've given you a chance. Gu Fei's voice rang out once more. After that, his voice fell silent. He's gone. Mu Xiu's heart skipped a beat. He had already made the necessary arrangements. When Gu Fei returned to Unique City, it was already an empty city. My lord, what should we do? I didn't expect this Mu Xiu to be so cunning. Sure enough, when Gu Fei returned to Solitary City, the entire ancient city had really become an empty city. This shocked and angered the Iron Blood Taoist and the others. It was not an easy task to move over 100,000 people away in such a short period of time. How dare they lie to us? Master, we should let them know that we're not so easily fooled. Black Dragon gritted his teeth. He had always disliked Mu Xiu. My lord, give the order. The 12 bandits were filled with murderous intent. They couldn't wait to kill their way into Unique Sacred Mountain and behead Mu Xiu. Since that's the case, let's do it. Gu Fei nodded. He then turned around and led the group towards Unique Sacred Mountain. Very quickly, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Mu Xiu, you will pay for your stupidity. Gu Fei spoke. His voice wasn't loud, but it traveled far into Mu Xiu's ears. What? Mu Xiu was extremely shocked. He had already arrived at the waist of Unique Sacred Mountain through void teleportation. However, his opponent's voice was still able to reach his ears. This made him feel uneasy. Boom! As he spoke, an ancient cauldron rushed out from Gu Fei's dantian. It emitted an incomparably powerful aura as it charged towards Unique Sacred Mountain. Strands of primordial chaos chi circled around the ancient cauldron. An ancient aura was emitted from the ancient cauldron. How could this be? This is... Looking at the ancient cauldron flying towards Unique Sacred Mountain, Mu Xiu was extremely shocked. His eyes widened and his mouth agape. He didn't expect that a saint weapon that had disappeared since the ancient times would appear in the hands of his opponent. It's over. Mu Xiu was shocked. When he thought about how terrifying a saint weapon was, his face turned ashen. If he knew that his opponent had a saint weapon, he wouldn't have dared to betray Gu Fei no matter how daring he was. Chapter 2335. Mu Xiu was an ancient saint who had lived for countless years. Naturally, he could sense the terrifying aura from the mountain and river cauldron. It was an aura that made even ancient saints shudder. Gu Fei actually had the mountain and river cauldron? How was this possible? Didn't the mountain and river cauldron disappear during the Desolate Era? Mu Xiu's expression changed drastically. He thought that the other party wouldn't be able to do anything to him once he returned to the unique sacred mountain. One should know that the unique sacred mountain was a palace left behind by the ancient Golden Crow. Moreover, Heavenly Emperor Ziyang had been operating on the unique sacred mountain for countless years. He had laid down countless Tao runes and had almost refined the entire mountain into a supreme saint tool. In Mu Xiu's opinion, no one could break through the unique sacred mountain, not even a great saint or an immortal venerable. But now, he knew that the other party definitely had the strength to destroy the unique sacred mountain. Mu Xiu had already realized how foolish his actions were. Rumble! The heaven and earth shook. An ancient cauldron that breathed primordial chaos chi slammed heavily on the unique sacred mountain's defensive grand formation. Countless formation runes emerged from the originally transparent void. An earth-shattering shockwave spread out from the unique sacred mountain. Every living being in the entire Ziyang continent felt the shockwave immediately. All of them panicked as if a supreme saint had descended upon the Ziyang continent. The unique sacred mountain's defensive grand formation was activated. Countless formation runes interweaved, triggering the power of the ancestral vein beneath the mountain. Earth essence chi transformed into huge dragons that rushed out from the depths of the earth. Roar! In the void, there seemed to be a shocking dragon roar. 9 chaos dragons appeared between heaven and earth, exuding a mighty wave of power. The 9 dragons pounced towards the mountain and river cauldron at the same time, like 9 dragons fighting for a pearl. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked to the extreme. This was the power of the unique sacred mountain's defensive grand formation. These 9 dragons were enough to kill an ordinary saint. Moreover, these dragons were condensed from the ancestral vein of the earth. They were lifeless. Even if they displayed power that surpassed the saint realm, the power of heavenly punishment would not appear. The power of heavenly punishment only targeted saint realm living beings. However, saint tools and saint formations were lifeless, and would not trigger the power of heavenly punishment. Boom! Just then, a loud boom rang out as the 9 dragons slammed into the mountain and river cauldron. In the next instant, the mountain and river cauldron shook violently, and the 9 dragons were sent flying away. Buzz! The mountain and river cauldron let out a deafening cry, and the beasts engraved on the cauldron began to emit rays of divine light, as if they were about to come to life. The souls of the countless ancient beasts oppressed by the mountain and river cauldron showed signs of awakening, especially the 4 spirits of the ancient era. They even showed their soul shadows, struggling on the mountain and river cauldron, as if they were about to rush out. This is... On the solitary sacred mountain, Mu Xiu, who saw the changes on the mountain and river cauldron, was dumbfounded. It really was the mountain and river cauldron. One should know that only the mountain and river cauldron could suppress the 4 spirits of heaven and earth. All the upper echelons of the unique abode were gathered on the unique sacred mountain. Seeing this scene, everyone was in disbelief. Someone was actually attacking the unique sacred mountain. This was something that had never happened before. Ever since Heavenly Emperor Ziyang unified the Purple Sun continent, no one had ever been able to get close to unique sacred mountain, let alone attack it. Is it those outsiders? How could they be so powerful? Why isn't the Heavenly Emperor back yet? Are we going to be passively attacked? On the unique sacred mountain, some elders of the unique abode were discussing in low voices. They had never been so aggrieved before. Someone had come to kill them, and they couldn't even go out to fight. Grand Elder, what should we do? An elder of the unique abode asked Mu Xiu. Run as far as you can. Activate the ancient teleportation formation on the sacred mountain, or it will be too late. Mu Xiu suddenly said. What? Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but look at each other. They thought they had heard wrong. How could such words come out of the Grand Elder's mouth? Hurry up and activate the ancient teleportation formation. What are you waiting for? We're already in trouble. Seeing that everyone was still hesitating, Mu Xiu couldn't help but shout. Rumble. At this time, the entire unique sacred mountain was shaking. The ancient cauldron in the sky was gradually breaking through the formation, and even the mountain guarding Grand Array could not stop it. Yes. The group of elders of the unique abode immediately received the order and left. However, just as the mountain river cauldron broke through the unique immortal mountain's protective array, a silhouette appeared in the sky above the unique immortal mountain. An extremely powerful aura exuded from the silhouette. You! Seeing that silhouette, Mu Xiu's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The person who attacked the unique sacred mountain was none other than Gu Fei. Are you going to end it yourself, or do you want me to do it? Gu Fei looked down at old man Mu Xiu and said expressionlessly. He hated those who betrayed him the most, and this old man Mu Xiu actually dared to do so. This made him very unhappy. He would never let go of such a treacherous person. Gu Fei, you've gone too far. Old man Mu Xiu was shocked and angered. He never thought that the other party would have an extreme Dao Saint weapon. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done such a stupid thing. I've already given you all a chance, but unfortunately you didn't cherish it, Gu Fei said. Above his head, an ancient cauldron floated. Streams of primordial chaos chi flowed down from the ancient cauldron, emitting waves of energy that could shake the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The power of the mountain and river cauldron spread out, forcefully suppressing the unique sacred mountain's grand array. The 9 chaotic dragons were forced back, and the surrounding space was sealed by the mountain and river cauldron. Grand Elder, why are you talking so much with this guy? Let me go up and take his head. A black-haired middle-aged man shouted. He then shot up into the sky and arrived in front of Gu Fei. His killing intent surged, and with a flip of his hands, a halberd appeared in his hands. Shwa! The middle-aged man waved the halberd and smashed it down towards Gu Fei's head. Humph! Gu Fei shook his head and pressed forward with his right hand. The halberd in the middle-aged man's hands immediately shattered into millions of pieces. The middle-aged man didn't even have the chance to scream before he was turned into a bloody mist. His soul had been completely destroyed. What? Everyone on the mountain was shocked beyond words. To think that this outsider could destroy a great perfection quasi-sage with a single move. This scene was way too shocking. The cultivation and battle prowess of this outsider were way too frightening.